And good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sadowitz Field. It's homecoming at Martinsville High School, and your Martinsville Artesians are hosting the Franklin Grizzly Cubs Mid-State Conference game. Both teams come in with a conference record of 1-1. Artesians overall 2-2. Franklin comes in at 1-3. I am Eric Burns. Alongside is Coach Fred Kutcher, former head coach at Lafayette Jeff and Martinsville High School, current principal at John R. Wood Middle School. And Coach, this is a unique game for you because you are an alum at Franklin High School.
Yes, I've got two connections. Coach Cole, the head coach, he was 2 years behind me at Franklin College, so very good friends with him. He went to Tri-West, and a good friend of his was my roommate, so we got to know each other quite well, and he's done remarkable things. I believe has won a state championship at Tri-West, but has done a great job before he went to Franklin. And then, of course, I think I got a cousin out there. Last name Shepard is playing. Pretty good player. And then I also, the current quarterback was his father was my teammate in high school. He was my quarterback. So got a connection there. His name was John Pinnock, went on to be an All-American at Hanover. So, and I think his son is a little left-handed as a quarterback as well. So, looks very similar to John. So that's my connection. And I, as a coach, coached against Franklin seven times, and luckily I never lost to my alma mater.
Well, that's good. Glad to hear that, Coach. A lot of connections, so a lot more we'll kind of dive into and talk to as the game goes on. But Coach, this is a homecoming game, so. Just real quick, as a coach, as a player, these homecoming games, do the games get elevated a little bit more? Is it just another game? Is it more for the fans? How do you kind of describe or prepare for homecoming, kind of with a lot going on, bigger atmosphere?
I think there's a little more excitement, just the fact that, you had a pep session today and, people know about it. That usually the same people are going to come, but you have a lot more people that come back, and we always used to tell the players, they're comparing themselves to you. Okay, could I have played at this time? Could I have played that position? Could I have done those things? So from that standpoint, but I think the coach's biggest worry about a homecoming is the halftime. How much time is going to be at halftime? Because you don't want your routine messed up of 15 minutes, maybe a few more minutes. So is it going to be a 20-minute, 25-minute halftime? Because that's where coaches, they get off the tracks because they want everything to be just as it was the week before.
Yeah, kind of not quite like the Super Bowl halftime length, but obviously there's a few extra minutes there that you got to stay in the locker room that maybe players and coaches aren't quite prepared for. As Artesians coming off a loss, first Mid-State Conference loss at Decatur Central. And, Coach, this was a game that the Artesians were really in it in that first half. Went into the locker room down 16-14, and then in the third quarter, the wheels kind of came off a bit.
Well, I don't think there was any major adjustments that Decatur made they went in and they made these adjustments. They just started hitting some of those A-gap and B-gap plays and started busting them. And whether or not it was fatigue, you get tired. And when you got the athletes they have and you get in the open field, it's tough.
So Artesians trying to get a bounce-back win here on homecoming. And Coach, kind of talk briefly a little bit as, a Decatur Central game, like we had mentioned, Artesians were in it at halftime, and then the second half, Decatur Central just kind of outscored them in the third quarter, and then it kind of got away from there. How do you kind of bounce back and get refocused?
Well, again, it's homecoming week. You're in front of your home crowd. It's a game that I know coaches tell me you can win. This is one of those games that you circle and say, okay, this game can go really either way. It could go to Franklin or it could go to the Artesians. And so that's one thing you want to play well. You want to be physical with them. I think the one thing with Franklin is they are 1-3, so they got to taste their first win. But I do understand there's a possibility there were some players out at Whiteland. I'm not for sure on that, but I don't think they were quite up to where they were. Needless to say, it's a big win for them. So now they got a little bit of confidence, and now they're going to come in here and they're going to want to establish the run. They're going to want to. They've got a running back that he plugs long at 4 or 5 yards a play. He's very physical, so they're going to have to put hats on him because they will chuck it deep, but they want to establish that run, and he's as good as anybody in the Mid-State.
And that Franklin record 1-3 can look a little deceiving. Their first two games, they played Danville And then I think, Mount Vernon also, two really good football teams. Then got a win against Whitelands just last week, like you had mentioned. So I think this is a Franklin team that is a little better than their record shows. And let's go back to Martinsville a little bit. Coach, it seems like all season long the Artesians, they'll have a really good game, and then they'll have a game where they kind of fall off a little bit. And a lot of times in those losses, they'll have a really good half and then a bad half. Then they'll come back with a good game. Not really the most consistent team so far that we've seen. A lot of inconsistencies in this Martinsville Artesian team. And actually, Coach Duggar talked about that with Eric Meyer on the coaches show as the Artesians come onto the field. We'll go ahead and take a look at the clip from Eric Meyer's coaches show with Coach Duggar talking about those inconsistencies Martinsville's kind of dealt with in practice.
One of the things we really talked to the kids about after the game was we've done an average job at practice, meaning we're playing a lot like we're practicing. We practice great in spurts, but then we're not great in other spurts. And that kind of showed Friday night. We were really, really lights out in the second quarter. Third quarter, not so much. Fourth quarter, a little bit, kind of up and down. So we've really stressed to the kids that let's practice like we're going to play. And we've done a good job of that this week. We've had a really good week of practice.
And that was Coach Duggar talking about how Artesians have kind of practiced how they played, kind of inconsistent at practice at times. And Coach, how important is it to have good practices and good consistency all throughout? I know that's hard to stay focused and stay consistent, but how do you deal with that? How important is that?
Well, I think it's a big aspect as far as getting ready for the week. But the thing you run into is I think that we need to talk about is the weather. And I know it's the same for both sides, but this ungodly hot weather that we've had, I think we had a couple cool days here the last couple, but it's hot tonight. I think that affects your practices, and you want to be the consistency, so you can't get that intensity up to where you want it. It's tough. So you got to make up games. You got to do things to get the kids competing in practice, and that can be really tough. But going back to what you said about being inconsistent, let's put into perspective the two teams that beat them are really, really good. So you're getting beat by some teams, and so that's something you learn from and say, okay, if we can eventually compete with these teams, we're going to be pretty good.
And we'll go ahead and down to the field. Martinsville Artesian Marching Band and the National Anthem. And those are the Martinsville Artesian Marching Band for the National Anthem. Coach, you kind of had mentioned it. Yeah, you talked about the heat. It feels like week one. I mean, it's probably still in the 80s right now, air temperature. But like you said, on the field, it's probably well into the 90s down there. So it's hard to be consistent when you have weather like this.
Very humid. I mean, it was like that this morning, and I thought it was going to be up and be a cool day. But it has heated up today, and that always plays a factor. But, I think as things get going, maybe get some water in them, get a few extra breaks. Hopefully the cramping is behind them. They've got enough games in them that they work through that. But you might see a little bit of that tonight because, again, you don't go as hard as tonight as you do that you want to go in practice. So you can't emulate that game situation.
Coach Duggar was mentioning how kind of Franklin and Martinsville's offenses are kind of similar. As Martinsville, they like to pass it, but they'll run it, and they'll kind of, take whatever the defense gives you. Said Franklin's very similar. He talked about that a little bit with Eric Meyer on the coaches show last week.
Similar to me, he's going to take what you give him. He's not going to force anything. He'll run the ball if the run looks are there. He'll throw the ball. It's kind of a mirror of our offense in a sense. They do a lot of RPOs, a lot of H-back stuff. So it's pretty similar stuff to what we do. So we're just going to have to make sure we're gap sound and make sure we're in the right spots and we tackle well.
That was Coach Duggar talking about the similarities of Franklin and Martinsville. But right now on the field, there's Coach Duggar with former Artesian player Nigel Bryant, who represented the Martinsville Artesians in the Indiana All-Star game, was part of the North squad. And, Coach, that's a great honor for Nigel and just for Martinsville in general.
He was a good player, good solid player for us at line position. Nigel looks a little different than I remember him in middle school. I mean, he was a big fella in middle school, but boy, he's definitely a man tonight. And of course, his high school career proved that.
So congratulations to Nigel Bryant, and appreciate him representing the Martinsville Artesians and the Martinsville community in that Indiana All-Star game, as both teams meet at midfield for the coin toss. And Coach, you know Franklin pretty well. You've kind of touched on some of the connections you have with Franklin. What is it Martinsville is going to have to do tonight to get a W here for homecoming?
Well, I know Coach Cole. He likes to throw it, but he's going to take what you give him. We're both products of Coach Faude at Franklin College. And even though it won't be so much lined up in it, but that's the old history of the run and shoot offense. And if you remember my offenses, that was basically based on the run and shoot. So what depending if you're off of them and you're belling, they're going to run hitches. You jump up on them, they're going to run deep. But I think he's going to want to establish. He's got a really good running back. He's got a big line. I don't know how. I haven't seen him play, so I don't know how physical they are. But he's probably one of the biggest lines we'll face this year as far as the offensive side of the ball. So I think that's something that we're going to have to take away early. And I think you got to get this young quarterback, this young lefty throwing the ball.
Yeah, Franklin Grizzly Cubs, they can run the ball. They proved it. Number 30 running back Titus Phillips last week against Whiteland, he carried it 40 times, 209 yards, and 4 touchdowns last week against Whiteland. So that's number 30 Titus Phillips who did that. And then also a player you want to look out for, number 7 Max Clark, not really known for football, known for baseball. He's actually the number 1 recruit in the whole country in his class for baseball. I don't believe he played the first 2 games that Franklin played. I'm just speculating, but I'm guessing he had some big national tournaments to play in. But he's someone to keep an eye on as Franklin kicks it off, taking it around the 12-yard line for the Artesians, and gets across the 25 to maybe the 26, 27-yard line. And the Martinsville offense, they will start us off here tonight for homecoming at Satterwitz Field. Artesians, Franklin Grizzly Cubs should be a good one as Tyler Atkins, number 17, leads his offense out on the field. We'll see what Atkins does offensively. So Artesians come in at 2-2, Franklin 1-3. Both teams 1-1 in the conference. Atkins in the shotgun, Austin Fry to his left, but in motion. And they're going to hand it off to Mabry. Gets a small gain there.
Yeah, Franklin did a good job of setting the edge on there. So it looked like there was going to be a hole developed, but they just quite missed a block and then made him turn it up, and then they had help to the inside.
And for the Artesians, you don't see Mabry with rushing attempts too much. Obviously, he's a great receiver for the Artesians. He's got, I believe, 40 receptions or more. I think he's second or third in the state in receptions so far this season. But a rare run there. But this time it's Austin Fry, who a little bit more familiar running the football, and he gets it across the 35 to the 36-yard line, just shy of the first down marker.
Austin Fry carries the ball.
First play, I really liked the way the Artesian line got into those big boys from Franklin. All you got to do is tie them up, and then Austin made a nice jump cut there to pick up, 6, 7, 8 yards maybe?
Yeah, about an 8-yard pickup there. Brings up 3rd and 1. So see if the Artesians can get an early first down here on their opening drive. See if the offensive line can get a push. And they get just enough. I think that was Austin Fry. Nice second effort. I think he was actually looked to be tackled at the line of scrimmage, but second effort got another extra yard. So it's a first down for the Artesians.
Great spot there.
First down, Artesians.
Atkins back to pass. He's got a man across the middle. It's Mabry right at the 50-yard line for about a 12-yard gain and another first down.
Nice route there by Mabry, and great ball. That was just a little dig route cut across behind the linebackers in front of the safeties, and great placement there. So good play call.
Artesian offense always has really good opening drives. They had one against Greenwood and then Bedford. So the two games we have watched, Coach, really good opening drives, and this one looks to be pretty similar. There's Garrett Skaggs across the 45 to about the 43, so another nice pickup.
Good tight spiral and a good route. So looks like they've been working. I know Coach may be scripting those first 10 plays. Sometimes coaches do that, and here's what they're going to run no matter what. And then you practice those. I haven't checked with Coach see if he's doing that, but there's a good possibility because they look awful sharp doing it.
And, Coach, is that something you did when you were coaching? Did you like to script your plays or just kind of, see what how the game rolls before you script those plays?
Oh, good! Another good ball. Oh, I thought he was going to break it. We would script some, but usually we were going to take it. It's kind of like I see you're going to probably see with Franklin and Coach Cole. It is we're going to take what you give us. If we got something called and we got a better play, we're going to check it and we're going to do that play instead. So we're going to put the best play out there. And that's what Coach may be doing right here as they're coming back. So I got a feeling coaches maybe just made a check there. So they come in, they look at that line, see what they get, and then Coach makes a call.
Austin Fry right up the middle. Safety with a touchdown-saving tackle there. 13-yard pickup for Austin Fry and another first down. Artesian's mixing it up nice. They've got 3 pass plays and 4 running plays, so pretty balanced opening drive to start this game. Play action there. Falls forward and doesn't look like much, but it's about a 7-8 yard pickup there for Cheatham again.
Those corners are playing, they're playing 8-9 yards off here in some situations. By the time they bail out, they're going to eventually have to make an adjustment. I think Coach Duggar's doing a good job. This is called he's taking what they give him.
And there's Austin Fry swallowed up there for in the backfield. Lost about 2 yards on that carry.
Now, depending on the defense they get here, this is where I like Coach throw a few more screen passes. This is a great time. If they're playing off, go ahead and throw a screen because they know you're probably throwing, so you're going to be bailing out, and then let those big old linemen, we called it elephants on parade, get out there and knock some people down for you.
3rd and 4 after the tackle for loss by Jacob Johnson of Franklin. Atkins, he's got to get rid of it, and he does just in time before he was hit hard. Some contact there in the end zone, but no call as Tyler Atkins took a shot when he delivered that ball. So bring up 4th down, and it looks like Coach Duggar's going to bring in Ethan Hanlon for a field goal try.
Yeah, it definitely looked like he got pushed there, but, the ref is closer, but we'll assume he had a better view than us.
It was the first incompletion for Tyler Atkins as Ethan Hamlin lines up for about a 32-yard field goal here. Snap, hold, all look good. Kick is up, and it is good. So Ethan Hamlin gets the Artesians the early 3-0 lead after a nice opening drive for the Artesians. I know Coach Duggar probably wanted 7, but nice opening drive, ran some clock, and got 3 points from a very reliable kicker.
Yeah, it's nice to see him get on the board. You had a good drive. Looks like they can get the run game going. Looks like they got the passing. So we'll see how the defense does here. But they're probably going to need to use all those options. They may have to score some points tonight.
And Coach, you obviously know this, but it just shows you how important it is to just avoid negative plays. I mean, Artesia were running, then Austin Fry got hit for about a 2 or 3 yard loss, and then that all of a sudden you go from 3rd and short to about 3rd and 7, incomplete, and now you're kicking a field goal.
Well, you're always looking, first you want to go first, second down, first down. You don't want to go first down, second down, back to 3rd down unless it's going to be really short. But and that's what we always talk about: first down, second down. And then you want to be able to get that first down, so you're not put in a bind like that. But I do think this is a great team. If Coach eventually brings out those screens, I think some screens could be some big plays tonight.
So Ethan Hamlin has the football teed up at the 40, ready to give this a boot. I think almost all of his kickoffs have been in the end zone, and it looks like this one, return man for Franklin's not even really going to try to get that because that's in the end zone, and Franklin will start at the 20.
That is a great weapon to have. That eliminates a lot of problems.
Yeah, when you on a high school football team, when you can have a kicker that can consistently kick it in the end zone, hit your PAT, then occasionally, like you did, come out and nail a 30, 35-yard field goal pretty consistently. That's a nice weapon to have.
Yeah, and he's accurate. So and I think, what did you say, he's a sophomore, correct? Is that right?
Ethan Hamlin is a junior.
Junior, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. But he's got a foot.
So Franklin, offense will take the field for the first time. Artesian's creeping up. Looks like they're going to show some pressure, but he hands it off. And that's to that Titus Phillips, who we talked about earlier, had the big game last week against Whiteland. Nice first down run for him. About a 6-yard pickup. Make it a 7-yard pickup, actually.
Yeah, he hits that hole. Here's a fun fact for you, Eric. Do you know his father was Brian Phillips? Do you know whose rushing record he broke at Franklin?
Was that yours, Coach?
That would be mine. So his father was a good running back, too. He was a few years behind me, and I had set the rushing record, and then he came by a couple years later and broke it. So he was a good player. So he's got good genes.
He's going to get it again and just kind of lowers those shoulders and just keeps the pile moving. He's going to be close to the first down, maybe about a half-yard shy of it.
This is where the Artesians have to stay awake because they're, I was maybe assuming they're watching Decatur. That second half, that's where Decatur hit them hard there in those A gaps, and that's what they're doing, running straight up the middle. So they'll have to make an adjustment. But they pound that, and all of a sudden they'll go deep, or they'll go. If you're off of them, they'll run a hitch. So they're not afraid to throw it.
Actually, did get the first down there on that run. So 2 runs for Mr. Phillips, and he's got the Grizzly Cubs moving. This time it's going to be a pass, and just off the fingertips of the intended receiver, number 35 for Franklin. It was John Shepard. Couldn't quite haul that in. Franklin's quarterback, Clay Pinnock, couldn't hit the man on the outside.
John would be my cousin. That's John Shepard. But, yeah, just what I was saying. They're going to hit you, they're going to run it, and then they're going to go deep on you when you're not expecting it. So just off his fingertips, pretty good coverage. So the Artesians were awake on that.
Yeah, Pinnock had to throw that, where his receiver could get it and just overthrew him just a little bit. So 2nd and 10 coming up. High snap, but corralled. And not a whole lot of running room that time. Artesian defense did a nice job on that run.
Looks like they had their linemen, Artesian linemen there and shooting those A-gaps coming up on there, so that confused the Franklin linemen a little bit.
So 3rd and 8. Football is at the 32-yard line of Franklin. So big 3rd down for the Artesian defense. Get a stop and possibly force a punt here for the Grizzly Cubs. Artesian showing pressure, looks like. And they're chasing. Pinnock's running to his left, and he will go down.
Good job by the Artesian defense there. You got to put that young quarterback under pressure. He's not used to that, and looks like he took a shot. He's
So that sack will make it 4th and 15, so punting situation for the Grizzly Cubs. Bryson Norton, number 11, was one of those Artesian defenders who was chasing Pinnock. And he was finally drugged down by the sideline of the Grizzly Cubs. It's a line drive, low kick. It kind of stops there at around the 43, 44-yard line. So Artesian offense will take over. Good starting field position on this drive for Martinsville.
That's there what we call, that's the kind of punt we did. We called it the rocker punt. If you don't have a really good punter, we put our quarterback back there 7 yards. It's a great, if you got a situation you can fake it. But he just takes one step and kicks it off his toe, and that's as good as, just 30 yards down the field. because you usually can't get a return out of it.
Artesians couldn't return that, like low kick, and kind of hit the ground and stop there. So on the 44-yard line, Artesians, Atkins in the shotgun. Had a good opening drive, and Atkins is going to keep it himself and falls forward for maybe a yard.
Atkins hangs on to it.
Not sure if that was designed for him to pull that. I don't know if they had a little zone read going there, but needless to say, at least it wasn't a loss.
Right. You got a 1-yard gain, but yeah, the handoff, Atkins kind of pulled that and then almost looked like he didn't really know where to go from there. So I don't know if that was a design or not. But 2nd and 9, let's see if Atkins can probably be going through the air on this second long play. Ooh,
There's
little
a screen
there to Mabry, and that was nicely set up. Mabry breaks tackles at the 40.
Pass complete to Chase Mabry. Good for an Artesian.
About a 16-yard pickup there for Mabry.
I would throw every screen I had at him because we've got better athletes. And when you're dropping like that, our lineman did a nice job getting out on him.
And that was a nice play because Austin Fry kind of came out and Atkins looked at him, faked to him, and I think all the eyes to Franklin went to Fry, and then he found Mabry there on that screen and picked up about a 16-yard first down. This time it's Fry bouncing around out to the outside. Flag comes from the back official.
I hate to see that one. It's probably going to be a hold.
Yep, official's already called it. So hold on the Artesians. That will move the football back for them.
In a night like this, I'm not sure how well Franklin could stop the Artesians, but it comes down to the Artesians stopping themselves. And those holding penalties, boy, they can really put you in a hole.
There's a 10-yard penalty there, so ball will be at the Franklin 49-yard line, bring up a 1st and 20. So
First down for the Artesians. Ball is spotted on the Franklin 49-yard line.
and we've got another, looks like be a false start. It will be. Ooh, so back-to-back penalties for the Artesians. Coach Duggar cannot like that.
Got to stay focused.
So we're back in Artesian territory, and this first down started at the Franklin 39. So 1st and 25. Let's see what Atkins can do. Gives it to Garrett Skaggs, makes one man miss, gets across the 50 to about the 49-yard line.
Pass complete to number 16, Garrett Skaggs.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get all this yardage back, but just get a chunk of it
Yep.
and then make it a workable third down if you're going to have to get to third down.
Got about 6 yards on that play.
And he
Going
wants
deep.
it all.
That's one he will probably want back. He had
Yeah.
his receiver with a couple steps on his man and just overthrew him.
Pass is incomplete. Chase Mabry, the intended target.
This is one of those things I wouldn't try anything too risky. If I'm going to throw it, I'm going to throw it deep. Or I'm going to throw it hitch, get what I can, and then see if I need to punt it or if I can pin them deep. I don't want to do anything silly on this. Looks like they've jumped up in their face. And, perfect call by Franklin on that one.
Pass complete to Luke Cheatham.
Coach Duggar's not happy with someone there. He's yelling at one of his players, but it's a completion for Luke Cheatham, but I think they might have lost a yard on that play.
Well, I think that's what Coach was going to do. Just get a chunk of it. Let Luke's a good athlete, but all of a sudden the number 6 Franklin corner there jumped up in his face, and then you got no place really to go. So we have to watch for that. Maybe that's third down is when they're jumping up in those faces. When up top looks like they're playing a few games, but they're back off.
It's a punting situation for the Artesians. Weston Pemberton just kind of runs, and Hopefully this takes a nice Artesian roll. Looks like it will, and that's will end up nicely for the Artesians inside the 10. So nice punt by Weston Pemberton, and gets Franklin to have to start this drive inside their own 10-yard line.
That's a great move right there. I mean, nothing hurt. You had a bad offensive series, but now they've got to start in an awful deep hole. Now we just got to keep them down here.
Last time Franklin had the football, they got a quick first down, 2 runs from number 30, Titus Phillips, but had a 2-yard pickup and then an incomplete pass and the sack for 7-yard loss. So Franklin offense hasn't really seen much of the field, but they're back with backs against the wall at their own 9-yard line. Gives it to Phillips. Phillips gets through the defensive line, but not very much. Linebackers come up, make some nice stops.
Gain of 4 on the play.
Nice cut there, picked up 4 before he knew it. And the Artesians were gang tackling, but he gets through that hole quick.
Titus Phillips, number 30 for the Grizzly Cubs, a senior, 5'8", 192. .236 left to go in this first quarter. Phillips with it again, tripped up there. Nice tackle there by Artesians, trying to see who that was, but if they don't make that tackle, Titus Phillips could still be running.
And I would think in this situation with a young quarterback, I would say Mr. Phillips is going to get the ball again.
And that'll bring up 3rd down for the Grizzly Cubs.
It's 3rd and short, 3rd and about 2 here. Let's see if Titus Phillips, number 30, gets it again for Franklin. He will get it. Go around the left side this time, and
it's going to be
close. It's going to be close, absolutely.
Never quite got turned up the field, but it looks like they're giving it to him.
Phillips carries it for a Franklin first down.
This is where they got to be careful of Franklin going deep on him. First down. Ran 3 running plays in a row, trying to lull you to sleep.
First and 10 for the Grizzly Cubs from their own 19-yard line.
Titus Phillips carried it 40 times last week. Already has 6 carries so far tonight in this first quarter with a minute and a half left. Franklin's going to pass, and now he's going to pull it down. Nope, and he's going to.
Oh, come on, get that one.
Incomplete.
Pass is incomplete.
I thought that a great call by the defensive coordinator, Coach Trump. That's what we talked about earlier before the game. Got to put pressure on that young quarterback.
I thought Pinnock may tuck and run. He had a lot of grass over here on this Artesian sideline. I thought he'd tuck and run and pick up probably 10, 15 yards, but decided to throw it downfield. Unfortunately for the Artesians, fell incomplete. There were 2 receivers. The ball kind of fell in between the receivers there. So 2nd and 10 for Franklin. Phillips has it and gets to about the 35-yard line.
Talking about the Clark kid from Franklin being one of the top baseball prospects, my understanding was he was playing some baseball, but he wasn't going to play football. And we got out, he ended up missing it and decided to come back out. I'm glad Coach Cole, where we need more of that. We need these dual athletes, these multiple sport athletes playing different sports. These kids specialize, and I think they're really missing the high school experience.
Max Clark, he's on that far side there, but they hand it off to Phillips and gets another first down, gets about 5 yards on that pickup. Titus seems like every time he gets it, he gets through the first defensive line and gets to that second level, and the linebackers and some of those DBs having to bring him down.
Well, that's been the Achilles heel of the defense a little bit here. This first 4 games is setting the edge and then taking care of those inside A gaps.
Could be the last play of the quarter here. 22 seconds. First down for the Grizzly Cubs. Fakes the handoff. It's play action. And they've got Max Clark wide open, and he catches it. plays in the outfield, and that was just like a pop fly for him. Just brought it down for a big gain for the Grizzly Cubs.
Well, it's a good thing the sophomore quarterback's had a nice ball there, but just not quite a very strong arm yet.
Nope.
And he had to wait on it because if they'd have hit him in stride, nobody would have touched him.
Not at all. Clock at 5 seconds now after that big throw, and that's how this first quarter will end. So Franklin driving, but the Artesians, they have the 3-0 lead in the first quarter. We're going to keep it here
3-0.
as Max Clark with that big 35-yard reception from Franklin quarterback Clay Pinnock. And Coach, you're right, Pinnock, some of the throws I've seen, and I'm by far not a quarterback guru, but it doesn't seem like he has, great arm strength. Looks like he's making the right throws, right decisions, but just doesn't quite have the arm strength or the zip on the ball that some other quarterbacks do.
Well, he's just, we always say he's a puppy. He's going to be a good one, and unfortunately, he's only a sophomore, so he's only going to get better. But I think Coach Trump's going to have to look at first down is when they seem to be throwing it. That's when, are they going to run it or are they going to throw it? But most of their throws here have been on first down. So they're going to have to look at getting some pressure on him there on first down and shooting those gaps and also maintaining a gap because, the problem is you shoot those gaps on first down, the Phillips kid shoots through there and he's pretty quick.
And Coach, you talked about, for example, Max Clark and these high school athletes, playing multiple sports. And it's hard to do that nowadays because there's so much emphasis on, the AAU circuit or travel ball circuit and things like that. So I know your son did it here with football, then a great baseball player, went on to play at University of Dayton for baseball. So glad to see you're a fan of the multi-sport, but it's just nowadays just really hard with all the focus, a lot of focus, I should say, on the AAU circuit, travel ball circuit, those type of things.
Well, the problem these kids are all, and a lot of times they get it from their parents, they're trying to play for a scholarship instead of playing for the fun of it. Those scholarships are far and few between.
And there's Pinnock. He went ahead and he was chased out of bounds, but he had a nice pickup there.
Have to set the edge.
Good for Franklin. First down.
They've done a pretty good job of that tonight, except for that.
First and 10 from the Artesian.
Well, that was a big gain.
But a 24-yard run there for Pinnock on that scramble.
But Eric, these these kids and the parents are spending a lot of money. And my daughter did travel volleyball. My son did a little bit of travel baseball. But they got to get back to let's play for the fun of it. And sports should be a whole lot more fun.
Just Titus Phillips up the middle, gets hit and gets across the 10 to about the 8-yard line. So about a 4-yard pickup there.
The one thing that can hurt you at Franklin, you get a kid like Clark, who's top prospect probably in the nation, and then you got if you got those some parents with 7, 8-year-old, 9-year-olds who say, hey, you're going to be just like Clark. Mm-hmm. Well, those guys there's a reason they also have the ability.
Toss play here for Titus Phillips, and Artesians do a nice job of stopping that for a minimal gain. Maybe only 2 yards there for Titus Phillips. I think it's the first toss play we've seen from the ground.
Nathan Berg making the tackle for the Artesians.
That's just simply Franklin was just trying to push Martinsville around there, and they did a good job holding the ground. So this is a big play right here. Third down.
A little reverse there to Max Clark, and the Artesians were not fooled. Nice play there by the Artesians, number 25. I think that was Braden Shrake. It was. Came up and made the stop on Max Clark. I was kind of confused. I didn't know who had the ball, so Artesian defense, good job being disciplined and knowing your responsibilities on that play.
Yeah, just a little counter, or we called it a slip in. Looks like you're going either toss or you're going to the left, and here it comes back to the right, and Shrake did a great job for the Artesians staying home. The backside linebacker, that's your job. Play goes away, you got to stay home.
So here we go, 4th and 4, and we've got some movement, and a Franklin player just rolled over. Be careful.
Come on.
Yeah.
And jumped off sides, and then we have a Martinsville player does something silly. So hopefully this will be offsetting. I don't know if it will be or not because did they consider it dead? I think it'll be offsetting.
So it looks like a Franklin offensive lineman jumped off sides. He jumped off sides pretty strong, knocked over a Artesian defender, but unfortunately one of the other Artesian players took offense to that and retaliated, and they always say the second man usually gets caught. So
Penalties against both teams.
They have offsetting penalties. Good. Okay, got a break on that one.
we did, yep. It could have been a first down if they ruled it.
Personal foul against the Artesians.
Those are one thing that I know Coach Duggar has in my years of coaching. You got to be disciplined. It's always the second guy is going to get caught. You've got to stay focused, and even though you want to slug a guy, you can't do those things. You hurt your team. And I said we just got a break that he had jumped off sides, because that could have been an automatic first down if they'd have marked it as a dead ball play.
6-yard line.
So we got fourth down again, 4th and 3 from the 5. So Franklin can't pick up a first down here. They don't need to be in the end zone, but we'll see what we've got here. And a bad snap, and Phillips still has it, though. Can the Artesians contain him?
Good job.
Pushed out of bounds, and they did. Looked like a little scared there for a moment, the bad snap, and then everyone tried to jump on it. Phillips ended up with it, ended up getting about a yard on it, but not enough, and the Artesian defense does their job, and it's a turnover on downs for Franklin.
Oh, great effort by Coach Trump's defense there. Kept him down there. Didn't let him get in. Swarmed to the football. Those all. I think the key players when they ran that little slip in or that little reverse counter, that backside backer stayed home. Shrake did a great job and played before that. So, all right, good job. Give him a little running room.
Nice job by Fry making a couple defenders of Franklin miss and gets a nice, healthy, about an 8-yard pickup there on first down.
Now this is where I think if they're backed off, I know I've said it a lot tonight, but boy, if Coach could come in with another screen here, I think it'd be big.
And they're going to pass it out to see if that's Mabry, and Mabry makes a man miss, and he's up the sideline, and he's still in bounds, but he will be drugged around the 30-yard line. And Chase Mabry going to have to do some counting here to see how big of a gain that was.
That changed the field position there, didn't it? That flipped the field.
Absolutely.
Looks like we got a Franklin player down. I think he's cramping. At least I hope that's what it is. But, yeah, it looks like the way he's holding they're trying to stretch his foot, and he's cramping.
Looks like I've got that. That was about a 54-yard pass play from Atkins to Mabry.
Well, I like Coach's plan there. Get it to 31, and big things are going to happen. I already told you, I'd have him touching it 10, 15 times a game easily.
Chase Mabry, it's his third reception. He did have that one rushing attempt to start the game, but Coach, that was Tyler Atkins kind of got his stats padded because that was probably only about a 3 or 4 yard pass to Mabry, 5-yard pass or so, and then he went up the sideline and got another 50 yards there.
But it doesn't say that in
the
stats.
Nope,
it's
absolutely
going to say
not.
A 54-yard pass. So we used to tell our quarterbacks here, you don't have to throw it all the way down there. You just play pitch and catch and let those we had good receivers. They've got great receivers and they're athletic. Throw them the ball and let them go make a move. And we called it we had a Yak Award, which is yards after catch. Who would be the receiver who had the most receiving yards after they got the catch? And that was always a big competition we had.
So now Tyler Atkins, it's in the Franklin territory here at about the 33-yard line after the big 54-yard pass. And we're going to go pass it again. Oh, and that was just out of reach of Chase Mabry. And that was a good route there and a good decision by Atkins to throw it, but just couldn't quite connect with him.
It wasn't quite on target, but there's only one guy. If it's a miss, only one guy is going to catch it, and if not, it's an incomplete pass. Nothing wrong with that.
We have Enable Auto Start on YouTube. Always had. So I've got the stream key. Every time I added it, I can update it. I just it's going to be the exact same
I really like the hitch up top. Whether coach throws the out or the hitch, but any short route up top of the field looks good to me. And there coach goes to it right there.
There it is.
Yeah, coach is taking he's taking a little bit of the Franklin College old Coach Fought there. Take what they give you. Of course, Coach Duggar worked with Coach Hepner, who was at Franklin College. He was my defensive coordinator at Franklin College, and then went down to IU to be the head coach.
Third down for the Artesians.
I know Coach Duggar worked for him.
Franklin 27-yard line.
Coach Duggar calling all the right plays on this drive. 6-yard pickup there. Once again from Mabry, reception number 4. We've got an interesting 3rd and 4 here. And going to fake the handoff. Atkins rolls to his right. He has a man wide open and caught. Garrett Skaggs with the completion.
Pass complete to Garrett Skaggs. Good for
Really nice to see Atkins doing a good job. You can just tell he's getting more confidence as he developed. Played a few games last year. This is his 5th game this year. Carrying those fakes out, rolling out. He's always seems to have a good field presence, but you can just see the maturity in him in 5 games, in my opinion.
Yeah, that was a good rollout. Looked smooth, and then had just a strike right to Garrett Skaggs for the first down catch. 8.5 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Atkins has plenty of time, and now he's going to tuck it and run up the middle. Goes to the outside and taken out of bounds. So Atkins looked like he was going to be in trouble, but scampered to the left side and got near a first down.
Good athletic move by Atkins. Now, when he got to the sideline, I would, as a coach, would be telling him he should have just thrown that hitch that was setting up there. I think is Cheatham was just setting up there. If he just had to throw him the ball, I don't know if he didn't see him, but or maybe they weren't on the same page. Maybe he thought he was going deep. Or
Austin Fry up the middle. I think he got just enough for the first down. Just needed about a yard. And I think he got it. We'll see. I guess not. So no gain there on that carry. So 3rd and 1.
I would give it to Austin here and let him get what he can.
There's Mabry, fakes it to Mabry, and right over the middle, touchdown.
Oh, that works too, huh?
That works too.
Yeah.
Try to see who that was. I think that was Garrett Skaggs, number 6. Braxton Dilly for the touchdown. Number 22, 19-yard touchdown pass.
Nice call there by Coach. He, a little play action and then put it in there. That was, I think Franklin thought Austin was going to get it too, so I think fooled everybody.
Ethan Hanlon out on the extra point. Kick is up and good. And the Artesians extend their lead 10-0 with 7:46 left to go here in this first half. It's a nice play call on that touchdown. Chase Mabry coming, you thought it'd maybe be one of those quick pop passes or jet passes, and faked it to him. And then just found Braxton Dilly coming across the middle, found him in the end zone for the score.
Yeah, that was a nice catch by Braxton. He's got all those athletes out there around him, and we kind of forget he's a pretty good athlete himself.
Absolutely, yep.
I think this is a key defensive series here. You go in, and this is where we've talked about the inconsistency. You're up 10-0, okay, you want to get things rolling so if they get a stop, and then you really put Franklin down, then they can't play their game. They're going to have to get that young quarterback throwing, and I definitely don't think they want him throwing when we know he's going to throw, because we can really put the pressure on him.
Ethan Hanlon set to tee this off here. And that's going in the end zone again.
Well, if I could have had a kicker like that, it would have saved me a lot of misery.
The junior kicker with another touchback.
We were playing at Whiteland one night, and we kicked off, and they kicked off to us. We scored in the third quarter. We went up 14 points. I think, okay, we're going to roll. We kicked off to them, and we couldn't get the end zone. They returned it for a touchdown, and then they never looked back. So that kicking game is so critical.
It is.
1st and 10 for the Grizzly Cubs on their own 20-yard line.
First down here for Franklin. They're going to hand it off to Phillips. Phillips gets about a couple yards on that before being brought down.
Phillips carries the ball.
A couple Artesian defenders there.
Devin Brenner in on the stop for the Artesians.
Looks like another good crowd tonight, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. It looks like a very good crowd. Student section looks to be almost full. There's a few rows that are empty in the back, but really nice crowd for homecoming.
A lot of
here.
standing people around.
Yep. Franklin back to pass. Plenty of time. Throws it. And it is intercepted.
The pass is picked off by the Artesians.
See who that was who picked that off.
Interception.
Takeaway there for the Artesians. Once the player intercepted it.
Yeah, they've kind of mugged him there, haven't they? Good to see. 27.
27, so that's Caleb O'Dowd with the interception, and that's good to see. Logan Poppy out for this game. He is your kind of leader in that defensive back room there, leads with the team with 4 interceptions. O'Dowd gets his first one of the year.
Actually, I think that now, I apologize, I think that was Bryce Norton got that. Number 11 pulled that down.
Bryce Norton, number 11, with the interception. And we're back Artesians with a
Gain of 6 on the play for the Artesians.
about a 6-yard completion there.
Well, the Artesians got exactly what they wanted. They needed a big defensive series. They got it. Now they got to finish this off.
Philip Herbert with that last completion. Hands it off to Austin Fry. A little stutter step, but goes right into the arms of a Franklin defensive player.
Austin Fry, the ball carrier.
I tell you, coach has got to go up top. They're going to give them that, and our athletes are too good out there. I can't believe they're giving Cheatham and Mabry that much room up top.
So 3rd and 4 for the Artesians. Once again, and all kind of set up by the interception by Bryce Norton. Hands it off to Austin Fry. A little skin stutter steps to make a player miss and gets close to the first down, and there's some activity there as Austin Fry was driven back. The play was forward progress was pretty much being called, but about a 3-yard pickup, so 4th and 1 coming up. This is a big play, Coach, because this is where you want to kind of keep that momentum going. Oh, man, that penalty is going to push this back. So as I say that makes this 4th down a little more challenging.
Penalty is against the Artesians. Illegal procedure.
I think they're in good shape. If he goes up top, they're giving him so much room with those two guys. You just run a little hitch. You can run an out. You can run a little switch route with any one of those two guys up top, play a game with them. But then coach has been known to go in the end zone.
Had it 3rd and 1 last time out for the Artesians. Ended up with a 19-yard touchdown pass. We'll see what we got here. 4th and 6. Atkins will roll to his left. He's looking, has a man. It is caught and hung on to it. What a play there on that far sideline, and it's a 1st down.
Chase Mabry.
And it was Chase Mabry who made that catch.
Does that surprise you?
I'm not surprised at all there.
Yeah, I think coach here. And now the white side is here to the bottom of here of the field to us. I said, I think he could play games with these guys all night if they're not going to cover them.
I think Riddick Bolton there with that carry. Gets a couple yards. So Riddick Bolton was with his first carry of the night for about a 2-yard gain. 2nd and 8 from the 15. Artesians already up 10-0. They're looking to extend that lead. Fakes the handoff. Now Atkins rolls to his left, just kind of dumps it and makes a completion. Almost looked like a little baseball throw there, but he made a completion there. Not much of one, but it counts for positive yards.
Yeah, that's definitely looks like a guy that plays for the Chiefs. Pulls those kind of passes off.
From the Franklin 11-yard line.
So it goes from, makes it a 3rd and 5 instead of a 3rd and 8. So
I think Coach is in 2-down territory if he doesn't get it.
Absolutely.
I think he wants a touchdown on this one.
Atkins, plenty of time. Now he's got pressure on his backside, escapes it, but I don't know if he can escape the second one. He doesn't, and he will be brought down for about an 8-yard loss on the sack.
Well, it looks like if that play is going to take a field goal, I mean, they just knocked him right out of it.
Yep.
The Grizzly Cubs make the stop behind the line. That'll bring up 4th down for the Artesians.
This will make for about a 37-yard field goal for Ethan Hanlon. He's hit from the 32 earlier on that first drive in the first quarter. Now setting up from for about a 37-yarder. 3:35 left to go in the half. Kick is up. It is no good. I think he pushed it left.
Just a tad.
Yep, just a tad. It might have gone over that left upright over the top, but not enough to get the field goal to be good. So that sack you need to maybe mark down. That's one of those plays you talk about it, Coach. There's plays in the game every now and then, and that might be one of those you want to mark down because I think you're right. I think Coach would have gone for it on 4th down, but 8-yard loss, you run your field goal kicker out, and now instead of being up 13-0 or even 17-0, it's 10-0, and Franklin's got 3:26 left to go.
I used to write, key points, not necessarily plays, key points in the game that we needed to win. And that was a situation right there. Coach is going to look back at this drive. I'm sure he's made a note when he talks to his team. That's the series you got to win on that one, and then you put the game to rest.
Hands it off to Phillips, and Phillips gets out to about the 25-yard line for about a 5-yard pickup.
Weston Pemberton and Trey Bernard in on the stop.
Pemberton there in on the tackle. Pemberton, leading tackler for the Artesians. No surprise. He's always got a nose for where the football is. Has 50 tackles coming into today's game through 4 games. So good defensive leader to have. 2nd and 5 for the Grizzly Cubs. 2:50 left to go. Fakes it.
There
And it's
it is.
picked off. Another interception for the Artesians. Is this one going to go back? Not quite, but inside the 5-yard line. The second interception of the game.
I believe that was Pemberton. Boy, he read that beautiful.
Now there is a flag on the field. We'll see what this is all about. It's like Weston Pemberton. We just talked about him, number 26, with that interception.
Attention, members of the
Well, they've taken this 3-5, 3-3 stack, whatever you want to call it. He's not your typical safety up there. He's a big physical linebacker type, and they free him up. And right there, he just read the quarterback's eyes. Quarterback just eyeballed his target, tried to throw it in a window that he's not capable of, and Preston got a gift. Gave him a heck of a present.
So Pinnock back-to-back interceptions.
And it's 1st and goal for the Artesians.
So the sophomore quarterback, a little a little rattled now, and their Artesians have a chance. They missed their opportunity on the last interception. Let's see if they can make up for it here.
I think Coach is running this one. What do you think?
Little hot pass there, and I
go.
think it dives. There is a penalty marker. They say he stepped out of bounds at the 1, so right now it's a 4-yard pass completion, but there is a penalty flag.
Just short of the end zone, penalty marker on the field.
It's a hold on the Artesians, so it's coming back.
Holding.
Looks like it was on our outside guy there, but boy, it's tough. Those guys don't hit much anyhow, so when they get a little chance to get contact, ref throws a flag on them.
Pushes the Artesians back to about the 15-yard line is where they will set it up. So it's 1st and goal from the 15.
If I'm coach, I don't get away with what I'm doing here. You still got first down, and you're kind of having your way with them. Do what you do. I wouldn't do anything fancy. You said you can throw up top, or you actually can still run the football here. Austin's had a pretty good night so far.
Fakes it. Ooh, Philip Herbert had it. Good play there, but I don't know if Philip's feet got tangled up with his defenders and got tripped up there right as the ball was coming to him.
A lot of people think that's pass interference, but if you're legit and your feet get tangled, it's not pass interference, even though it looks like it.
Artesians from the Franklin 15-yard line.
And the handoff there, nice play call, and can he get the corner? He's going to get drug out of bounds, but a nice pickup there by Austin Fry.
Carries the ball for the Artesians.
Gets it inside the 10 to about the 6-yard line, so a 9-yard carry there. Nice play call there. Looks like Atkins was going to pass it, but then kind of a delayed handoff, coach, and Austin Fry got 9 yards.
Just a little draw play. Look, they pulled the right guard with him. Made a nice block, and away he went.
Atkins going to pass. He's going to the corner of the end zone. And nice coverage there by that Franklin defender there. He was right on him and knocked the ball away. So that'll bring up 4th and goal. We'll see. Zach Reese was that Franklin defender.
I like the call. I think it's a good ball, good pass. I mean, it's one of those that's it's a tough catch, but it's a catchable ball, and probably should have come away with a touchdown there.
So another field goal attempt. Ethan Hanlon 1 for 2 so far tonight. This one's a 24-yard field goal. Close to an extra point, really. Kicks it. It is between the uprights. This one is good, so 13-0. Artesians extend the lead a little bit, but once again, you got to give credit to Franklin's defense. They could have been down 21-0 at this point, but defense holds strong and only gives up 3 points on that play. The Artesians up 13-0 with 2:10 left to go in the first half.
Well, 2 big turnovers there by Franklin, and they only give up 6 points. So I know the score's not in their favor, but it could be a lot worse. You're right, Eric.
It's 2:10 left to go here in the first half. And for those of you who like to follow us on YouTube, we had a little technical difficulties on YouTube's end. So we were kind of off YouTube for a little bit as Ethan Hanlon will kick this into the end zone. Shocker there. But we were offline on YouTube for a little bit. If you like to follow us on YouTube, we appreciate that. Thank you. But sometimes YouTube will have some technical difficulties. You can always follow us for free live on IHSAA TV as well. So if you're ever watching the Artesians and YouTube is playing tricks with us, hop on over to IHSAA TV. You can find the same broadcast on that. But we're good on YouTube and IHSA TV, so
For the Grizzly Cubs from their own 20-yard
call your friends, text your friends, let them know if they're not here. Tune in and watch the Artesians and the Franklin Grizzly Cubs Mid-State Conference game. First half, Artesians with a 13-0 lead. Clay Pinnock will roll to his right, looking downfield, and now he is going to be gobbled up and brought down for a huge loss.
And that's a tough way for a left-handed quarterback to roll out. You're going to your right with that ball in your left hand. Good play by the defensive side of the ball.
down. Number 29, Devin Brenner for the Artesians.
That was number 29, Devin Brenner, the linebacker who had that sack, and was a 7-yard loss for Franklin.
Well, I've been burnt by this many times, but I would probably, Coach, I would have taken a timeout, try to get the ball back here before halftime with some good field position.
2nd 17, and just going to hand it off to Titus Phillips there, and he tries to get most of that sack yardage loss back, gets a lot of it back, but bring up 3rd and long. And now the Artesians coach, now Coach Duggar takes that timeout.
Bryce Norton stops the play for the Artesians. Timeout on the field.
You know, I've had it where I think we're going to get the ball back, and it's 3rd down like this, and all of a sudden we're trying to stop the clock, and then bam, they end up getting a big play and even getting a score. So even though I always did it, it bit me a few times.
The Artesians, I believe, take their first timeout of the half. So obviously, if Artesians, if they can get another stop, they'll call another timeout and try to put some more points on the board. 1:19 left to go here in the first half.
You know, if they get to the 4th down situation, get another timeout. Remember, you got that sophomore quarterback punting as well, so maybe get a little pressure on him. Make something happen there as well.
Franklin comes back onto the field. 13-0, but Coach, the Artesians, they have pretty much been in control of this game the whole half, but the score doesn't quite look like it. So we got to give props to Franklin there. 3rd and long for the Grizzly Cubs. It's Pinnock. He's got pressure. He steps up, and he's got all types of green in front of him, and he will get the first down and get near the 40-yard line.
Clay Pinnock hangs on to it. Carries it for Franklin, first down.
About a 22-yard pickup there for Pinnock, and that's the 2nd long run that he has had. We do have a Franklin player down.
Eric, here's a good example. You got them. You got them. You think you're going to get a sack, and then all of a sudden they get a big play, and now they're sitting thinking, okay, I can get some points out of this before half.
So trainers tending to the Franklin player, try to see who that is, if we can get a number. But for Clay Pinnock, he's had 3 big plays. He had the 35-yard pass to Clark, but then the 2 runs he's had a 24-yard run, then this 22-yard run he just picked up. And both those runs, those were kind of on scrambles. He's looking to pass and then rolled to his left or right and just found all kinds of space in front of him. You had mentioned the Artesians have had a really hard time this year containing that edge, and that's kind of how those type of plays happen.
Exactly, and it gives them hopefully the defense will be up for the challenge, but they're going to just take care of the responsibility. Don't let anything behind them. I don't believe you go prevent right now, but you got to take care of your lanes. You got to take care of that A gap because Phillips can bust one, and then you got to set the edge. So just play sound defense, keep the ball in front of you. Let's head in before half with a 13-0 lead.
And that injured player for Franklin was Titus Phillips, who was able to kind of get off on his own power, then kind of slowly jog off there at the end. So hopefully he's all right. He's obviously has 14 carries, so very involved in the Franklin offense. He's off the field right now. First down for Franklin. Fakes the handoff. That looked a little weird, but Pinnock is rolling to his left, and he's going to break a couple tackles. That sophomore quarterback breaking tackles. And Artesians very lucky because I thought we might have a horse collar, but didn't quite get into the collar of Pinnock and picks up about 6 or 7 yards. And Franklin, Coach Cole will call a timeout.
Good job of us playing pass defense on that. They ran a couple of their good guys deep. We were running stride for stride with them. And the Pinnock kid's not real tall, so he can't really see over that. So he had to, he bailed out of there, and then he took off. So pretty good job by the defense. And unfortunately, he got out of there again. But, again, setting up midfield with 56 seconds.
Clay Pinnock, number 11, the sophomore we mentioned, is 5'9", 178 on the roster. So, like you said, Coach, not the biggest kid.
I've had a few smaller quarterbacks, but I was always very fortunate to have, some taller kids that were athletic, and it does make a difference.
For those Martinsville fans watching, obviously your son Mason, big kid, big, strong quarterback. Hayden Northern, another bigger, stronger quarterback. Two quarterbacks you had here at Martinsville, very talented and very big in stature as well.
But even at Lafayette, Jeff, I had Mike Vlahogeorge, who got a scholarship to IU. He's almost 6'3" and a half. I had, always was very fortunate. But my guys that were that size, they could run. So you don't have to be that tall, but it sure does help.
2nd and 3 coming up, under a minute to go here. Pinnock sets up a screen to Phillips, and Phillips has a lot of room in front of him. And he will get out of bounds at the 30 for about a 23-yard pickup.
Well, I've been asking for a screen, but I didn't want him to throw it against us. That was a great call right there. I mean, we were bailing out, and
that'll be 1st and 10 for the Grizzly Cubs on the Artesian.
So defense got to stiffen up here. Coach Trump's going to have to challenge them, because they've done really well tonight. They've had some big, a couple of goal line stands.
Fresh set of downs for Franklin. Pinnock back to pass, has some pressure on the right side, gets away from it. Gets about a 2 or 3 yard pickup there, but it's going to force Coach Cole to call another one of his timeouts. I don't know if he's got one more left or if that was number 3, not for sure, but about a 2 yard pickup for Clay Pinnock. Pinnock only 2 completions so far tonight, if my stats are right. I had the 35-yard pass earlier in the game to Max Clark, and then just recently the 23-yard pickup there for Titus Phillips. Artesians have done a really good job of kind of rattling him a little bit, but he's also hurt the Artesians, mainly with his legs and escapability. Artesians could have more sacks on the stat sheet, but he's escaped and got some yards on the ground.
Well, that's been our Achilles heel this year, is setting that edge when we need to, whether it's running the ball or especially the passing aspect. So when you're setting that edge and they're coming at you, you got to slow it down, slow play it, and keep that ball in front of you, because there's nothing out there if he gets around you.
39 seconds left to go, 2nd and 8 for the Grizzly Cubs. Pinnock, plenty of time, throws it, and off the hands of his intended receiver there, and he was wide open in the middle of the field. John Shepard just could not haul it in.
Yeah, that was a great ball, and it's almost, I don't know if he was think he was running before he caught it.
I think so. I think before the ball hit his hands, he kind of turned to look upfield to see how much room he had. I think he knew he was open. Coach Duggar trying to communicate with his defense there. Pinnock back to pass. He's going to go deep.
I think we're going to get a pass interference.
Yeah, we are. And I don't think that was necessary. I don't think that was going to be caught. As long as you keep your hands off of the receiver there, I think you're good. But
well, I don't know. One thing I'm noticing about Pinnock is he seems to be getting more confidence. That looked like a pretty good ball. You're right. I don't know if they could have caught it, but they were running stride for stride. And you got to turn around and look. You can't put your hands on the defender or the receivers like that. So.
Yeah, that was clear pass interference, especially when the cornerback or defender doesn't turn his head to look for the ball. When you keep your head locked on the receiver the whole time, it's usually will draw a flag, and that's what it did. So, be a 15-yard penalty, I believe, and give Franklin a first down. from the 14 with 28 seconds left.
I think this is a big series here. Just the standpoint is, Franklin gets the ball coming out at halftime. So you get a score here, and then you come back, and then it's –
Pinnock took a shot, threw it up, incomplete.
Pass is incomplete.
good coverage. Good coverage right there. That's a good ball. Only one guy could catch it. Either a receiver or it's going to be out of bounds.
Artesian defender came right up the middle and gave Clay Pinnock a shot, and he was a little slow to get up.
Tristan Coleman, the intended target for the Grizzly Cubs.
Nice coverage there by Ben Field, who's covering for Logan Poppy tonight.
On the Artesian 14-yard
Had
line.
coverage on that play. Pinnock back to pass. Sets up a screen, but is gobbled up. Great read by the Artesian defense there. And Franklin will use their last timeout. I'll see who made that tackle, but Martinsville defensive player read that beautifully and just knew exactly what was happening.
Sniffed it right out. Well, this is, 14 seconds. You're probably going to be able to get 2 plays. I know they're either going to go for the end zone or you're going to run something to that's out that's pretty quick.
Yeah, Franklin, no timeouts now. They just used their final one. 14 seconds left.
And the problem is, you got to probably go to the end zone. We always practice a quick field goal team. You got to get your field goal team. But I'm not sure even after you run this play, if you get it in bounds, you're not going to be able to get a field goal team out there. So they've got to hit for the end zone or out of bounds and then try for one more time.
And that'll bring up third.
So 14 seconds, plenty of time to get a playoff. You just got to make sure that if you're Franklin, you get out of bounds or it's an incomplete pass or something that will stop the clock.
Oh,
There's pressure, and that's not going to stop the clock, and that will probably do it for the half. And the Artesians, the defense does it again, and that will do it here in the first half. A huge sack there for the Artesian defense, and momentum for the Artesians going to the locker room. Franklin tried to steal it, but Artesians put a stop to it. They go to the locker room up 13-0. We will take a quick break, and then we'll be back with some homecoming festivities after this.
High school football fans, welcome back to Friday night, to pure spirit, to pure sport. Welcome back to high school football.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back!
This is Friday night. This is Indiana high school football. This is your IHSAA.
Do that.
And welcome back, everyone. Satterwoods Field homecoming tonight. Artesians taking on the Franklin Grizzly Cub. Artesians with a 13-0 lead against the Franklin Grizzly Cubs. We're going to turn it over to PA announcer Matt Smith for the announcement of the homecoming Princess and Queen candidates.
Let's first meet our princess nominees. Up first, Evita Vasquez. Evita is escorted by River Atkins. Evita plays guitar and creates art in her free time. Evita plans to be a tattoo artist or music artist after high school. Ladies and gentlemen, princess nominee, Evita Vasquez. Up next is Maria Strimming. Maria is escorted by Jeremiah Cook. Maria is very involved in music and is on student council and in the Leo Club. After high school, Maria plans to go to college at Indiana University. Ladies and gentlemen, Princess nominee Maria Strimming. Our next Princess nominee, Cassandra Smith. Cassandra is being escorted by Jacob Dillander. Cassandra is on the varsity color guard team. She is a big part of the theater department, makes costumes for musicals, and made the dress that she is wearing. Cassandra plans to study mathematics at Indiana University after high school. Ladies and gentlemen, Princess nominee Cassandra Smith. Up next, Ace Prince. Ace is being escorted by Finnick Mooney. Ace is a member of the varsity color guard and loves writing music for fun. After high school, Ace plans on attending art college for photography. Ladies and gentlemen, Princess nominee Ace Prince. And our final Princess nominee tonight, Brianna Hudson. Brianna is being escorted by Aiden Wilson. Some of Brianna's accomplishments while in high school: maintaining all A's and B's, having a 3+ GPA, and graduating early. She's a football manager, does dance, and helps out with special needs kids. She is proud that she was able to live life to the fullest with her partner in crime, her papa, who ended up passing away on September 10th. He left the biggest impact on her life. In honor of him, she is wearing a dress in his favorite color. After high school, Brianna plans to apply to IUPUI for pediatric nursing. Ladies and gentlemen, Princess nominee Brianna Hudson. And let's give a warm round of applause to all of our Princess nominees. And now let's meet the Queen nominees. Up first is Trinity Hansel. Trinity is being escorted by Gabe O'Dowd. Trinity has become a CNA and spends her free time working. After high school, Trinity plans to become a professional makeup artist. Ladies and gentlemen, Queen nominee Trinity Hansel. Our next Queen nominee is Emma Gonzalez. Emma is being escorted by Elias Carter. Emma has helped run the Interact Club for the past 4 years. She has been cheering all of her high school career, and she has won many competitions with the varsity cheer team. After high school, Emma plans to go to Indiana University and get a business degree, and she plans to become a nurse as a side job. Ladies and gentlemen, Queen nominee Emma Gonzalez. Our next Queen nominee is Alexia Day. Alexia is being escorted by Braden Meckling. Alexia has been a football manager for 5 years, has participated in the choir program throughout high school, and has a part-time job. She plans on graduating high school with an honors diploma and going to college to major in business and minor in psychology. The college she will be attending is still undecided. Ladies and gentlemen, Queen nominee Alexia Day. Our next Queen nominee is Ariana Taylor. Ariana is being escorted by Israel Serber. A big accomplishment for Ariana, she says, is graduating early in November. Ariana has been a football manager since 7th grade and spends a lot of time working at The Waters, a nursing home. After high school, Ariana plans on attending IUPUI to be a physical therapist. Ladies and gentlemen, Queen nominee Ariana Taylor. And our final Queen nominee tonight, Vincentia Thatcher. Vincentia is being escorted by Trent Snow. Vincentia used to be a part of the swimming and diving team. She is involved in band and theater. And in band, she is one of the drum majors for the Marching Artesians. After high school, Vincentia plans to major in philosophy and musical arts at either Butler University or Ball State University. Ladies and gentlemen, Queen nominee Vincentia Thatcher. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it once again for all Princess and Queen nominees. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for. Your 2021 Homecoming Princess, Brianna Hudson. And now, your 2021 Homecoming Queen, Emma Gonzalez. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for all the Princess and Queen candidates and their escorts. Congratulations to Homecoming Princess Brianna Hudson and Homecoming Queen Emma Gonzalez.
And congratulations to the Princess and Queen candidates, winners of Homecoming Princess Brianna Hudson and Homecoming Queen Emma Gonzalez. We'll go ahead and stay here for halftime entertainment. Dance Line is going to perform, so stay with us. We'll won't take a break just yet. Stay with us for the Martinsville Dance Line for halftime and homecoming here.
Please welcome to the track your MHS dance team. Dance captains for the MHS dance team, Elena Fields and Jama Cottingen. The MHS dance team is coached by Justine Jack and Riley Miles. Ladies and gentlemen, your MHS dance team.
I want a little fire.
Pretty in the face. Ever let a boat take you on a date? Haters can't relate. I'll never be a fight. I got a big ball of putting ice in my eye. From my lips to my fingers to my toenails. Finish your name night. This ain't going on sale. All these birds busy, baby. I do not do friends well. Now the haters, but I promise that I won't tell. Now what's my favorite word? I can see the smile, but I know she don't like this. Punting for a verse, yeah, I'm way too crazy.
I wanna bring that ice. Body yaddy 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 yaddy.
Body yaddy 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 yaddy. Body crazy, curvy, wavy, beat, yeah, little waist. Body that, body that. Body yaddy, body crazy, curvy, wavy, little waist. Gave it back. Bring it back. Body yaddy 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 What's up in the time and I heard that I was came from the chick who I said my phone racks like a shack high jury on the flashlight. I've been listening last night. Hit 'em with that cook, make you wanna act right. Cook for some dessert, no kid. I know that's right. Big bad pussy, not the Bentley gang. Say the number, let's see, I can put it back on high. It's big bad pussy, not the Bentley gang. Take a back, working back, party back, no high, give it up. Gotta play safe, no face, no case.
And that was the Martinsville Dance Line performing at halftime here of Homecoming. We're going to keep it right here. More entertainment here at Satterwoods Field for Homecoming. Now performing for the Artesians, it's the Martinsville Marching Artesian Band.
Now taking the field is the Martinsville Marching Artesian Band. The Marching Artesians are under the direction of drum majors Elizabeth Heath and Vincentia Thatcher. Captains are Elias Carter, Luke Franklin, Josh Gooden, Macy Copus, Chad Sullivan, Caitlin Taylor, and Kiki Walker. Tonight, the Marching Artesians will perform the tunes All Night Long by the musical artist Lionel Richie and the beautiful music piece Claire de Lune by the composer Claude Debussy. From their competition show, From Dusk Till Dawn, and then we'll conclude with the playing of our school song. Ladies and gentlemen, the Martinsville Marching Artesian Band. The marching band staff features visual designer Todd Clevenger. Instructors are Todd Clevenger, James Powell, Lily Weaver, Tricia Pettit, Jacob Powell, Carl Vierling, and Greg Pearson. The band director is Ken Bell.
And thank you for the Martinsville Artesian Marching Bands for that performance at halftime. And that concludes our entertainment for homecoming here at Ciderwoods Field. Martinsville back on the field. We got a few more minutes for kickoff, so we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with the second half after this.
This is your IHSAA. This is your state. This is your high school. This is your athletic association.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and we're here to make sure that all of this remains yours.
This is your state. This is your community. This is your IHSAA.
Do that.
Hi, I'm Matt Wolfert, president of the IHSAA Foundation. Lots of high school athletes here in Indiana have gone on to become collegiate All-Americans. A few of them have even turned pro. But participating in high school sports has helped virtually every high school athlete become a good American. That's because playing high school sports teaches life lessons like the importance of persistence, teamwork, tenacity, preparation, and hard work. The IHSAA Foundation was created to help high school administrators and coaches become more effective role models and teachers, emphasizing values that will help their players become better athletes, better representatives of their community, and better Americans. To learn more or to make a tax-deductible contribution, go to ihsaafoundation.org. You'll not only be contributing to the foundation of the IHSAA, you'll be contributing to the foundation of our community.
And welcome back, everyone. Ciderwoods Field, Martinsville High School. Artesians lead Franklin 13-0. Homecoming just about getting ready to get the second half underway. I'm Eric Burns giving you the play-by-play call alongside Coach Fred Cuttriff. And Coach, kind of your thoughts on the first half for the Artesians.
I think the story of the game is the defense for the Artesians. They've come up with some big stops. I think I count them as goal line, but three stops deep in the red zone there that they come up with. They've also I think they got 3 picks. So the defense has kind of set the tone. They've given up some big plays on Pinnock's legs, and I think that big screen pass. But other than that, I think they've done a good job of containing the Franklin offense, and then our offense has done an adequate job. I think we've squandered away a couple opportunities down there, just in that second quarter. I know Coach walked away with 3 points, but he'd like to either 7 or 14 even.
And Coach, right before half, you mentioned off air that was maybe the play of the game. Franklin was driving, had the ball in the red zone, looked like they could get in the end zone and be 13-7, but Artesians got a sack to end the game. Franklin didn't have enough timeouts to stop the clock, and Artesians went into the locker room with some momentum. So that sack might end up being one of those key plays we talked about. Well,
it took away it made it 1 play instead of 2. There's no way to stop that clock. They didn't have any timeouts. So he didn't even get a chance to get a look to the end zone. Therefore, he didn't get a second play. So it kept them from going in. And as we move forward here is the second half, they're going to get the ball again. So if you get a score there and then something, would have happened here, that would have been, a big turning point in the game. But at least you got that stopped, and now if they can make a couple big plays here and get things back on their momentum going, I think maybe they can build off that big sack.
And so, Coach, we got about a couple seconds before Artesians kick it off to Franklin. What do you need to see? What do you want to see from the Artesians to make sure they finish this night off with a win?
I think they still need to keep going after the young quarterback. I know he's gotten out of there a couple times, but I think they put some good pressure on him. So keep playing their defense. They're being aggressive. I like to see that. And then on the offense, I do like when they go that slot. We called it a slot look, whether it's on the far side, right side of the field. I think Franklin's really given them that. And with we've got Mabry out there and Cheatham. Those are two pretty good athletes. So I'd like to see a little play action and throw it there. And then I think this Franklin team is ripe for some screens. I think those could be big plays for Coach.
So we will see if Artesians can distance themselves a little bit here in the second half. In their wins, their third quarter has been really their big quarter. And the wins against Bedford and Greenwood, they had really strong third quarters. So hopefully that will continue. As far as just kind of some stats go real quick, Franklin in that first half had 89 rush yards, 58 passing yards for 147 total yards. Artesians 46 yards on the ground, 162 through the air for 208 total yards in that first half. So Artesians getting chunk of their yardage through the air as Ethan Hanlon kicks that, and it hits at the 1 yard line but then trickles into the end zone for the touchback. And Clay Pinnock will come out, the sophomore quarterback, lead his Franklin offense. And our teams did a really nice job of kind of keeping him off balance. They picked him off a couple of times. They got a lot of really good hits on the quarterback, got some sacks. But Clay also was able to sneak away and get some yardage with his legs in that first half. Pinnock will start off with a handoff, and it's around the right side, and a big gain there for the running back for Franklin, number 30, Titus Phillips, with about an 8-yard pickup there on that first down.
It looks like he's recovered. They had taken him out of the game there right before half, so that may have been something, one of the reasons they had given up that sack. He wasn't in there to block, but looks like he looked pretty healthy on that run.
He did, 8 yards, and bring up 2nd and 2 for the Grizzly Cubs.
I think this is what Franklin's got to do, get back to their running. They got to look at this as a 2-score game and just chip away at the clock, not be in a hurry and do their thing. But this is again, they're sitting at 3rd down.
That time Titus Phillips was met, and I don't think got a single yard. Didn't lose any, but didn't gain any either. So 3rd and short coming up for the Grizzly Cubs. We'll see what they do, if they give it to Phillips again or Pinnock tries to do something with his legs or his arm.
The Franklin coach, Coach Cole, maybe is a little shy of throwing his quarter. He'll probably throw him on this down, but definitely a little shy of throwing that young quarterback. Man, he hands it off again.
Hand it off to Titus Phillips, and he gets hit, but he gets, I think, enough for the first down. He needed a couple. I think he got 2.5, but he took a shot there at the end of that run.
And this is what Franklin does. They like to run you. Now is when you got to look for that pass. First down, they got a little momentum, and then that's when Coach Cole likes to throw it. But I say with those 3 picks in the first half, I think Coach Cole's wanting to just have his young quarterback get through the quarter, not make any mistakes, and maybe get a score out of this. And I know they're needing a touchdown.
Pinnock fakes it.
And there it is.
He's going to throw it deep. And it is, nearly intercepted.
Pass is incomplete.
And Pinnock that time, a nice arm on that throw, but kind of threw it into double coverage. There was 2 Artesian defensive backs there to the one receiver he was trying to get that to.
It went right through both of our DBs' hands. That's why they're DBs. They're good athletes, but that's why they play on the defensive side of the ball. And he took a shot there. I didn't see who it was, but the young quarterback from Franklin took a nice hit from one of the Franklin backers that came in there.
Hands it off to Phillips. He was able to escape the first tackle. That would have brought him down for a loss, but able to skip out of that tackle and get about 4 yards on the carry.
Weston Pemberton making the stop for the Artesians.
Now, I think we've had a tendency to stunt on 3rd down, so if I'm the Artesians, I'm going to look for a screen here. And I'm still going to come at him, but I want to make sure those backers and those guys that aren't, make sure they're watching those linemen and see if they're setting up for a screen.
3rd and 7, big down here for the Artesian defense. See if they can get Franklin off the field there. They swing it out to Phillips, and nice open field tackle there on that far side.
That was a nice open field tackle.
Absolutely. Great tackle there on that far sideline. Number 14 for the Artesians made that nice open field tackle. It's Quentin Bland made that tackle for a loss, and now that's going to force Franklin to, looks like they're going to show and punt. And it nearly got to it. High punt, not very far.
Good field position.
Yep.
Well, Martinsville got exactly what they wanted. They needed to have a stop. And, I think, Coach, go back to what he's doing. What I've been impressed with the Artesian defense is I don't think anything Franklin's done has surprised our guys. So they're well prepared. So I think coaches have done a great job getting them ready. So I haven't seen them pop anything at them. It seems like their big plays have just been busted plays where quarterback's taken off in that one screen play.
Tyler hands it off to Austin Fry, who gets a tough maybe 1 or 2 yard pickup there.
Austin Fry, the ball carrier.
And this is kind of a fun matchup. Artesian's offense and the Franklin defense. Coach Duggar talked about on the coaches show. He knows Franklin's defensive coordinator. I think they coached together at Southport, so kind of one of those chess matches of two familiar coaches knowing each other. Wide open there for that reception. Close to the first down marker, a couple yards shy of it, though.
That's what we would call like a smash route. You could either run on one guy deep and one guy, either you hitch or you can run an out, depending on what you want to do with it. And, they looks like they've tightened up on the corners on a little bit, and then they're still bailing out those backers on those number 2 receivers. So I thought a good call here.
On the Franklin 42-yard line.
Garrett Skaggs with that reception, 3rd and 2. Let's see if they give it to Fry and Mabry. A little hot pass there, and Mabry can he get the edge? And he does, but the ball came loose. He took a shot when he was going down.
Looks like he's down. I think he's going to get the first down.
All right, I couldn't tell. It's on that far side. The way that the teams reacted, I don't know if the ball came loose, but it seemed like when he was going down, he took a shot up high.
I think he was out of bounds when he lost it.
Okay.
And that'll bring up a first down for the Artesians. Ball is spotted on the Franklin 40-yard line.
Fresh set of downs for Martinsville. Quick pass over to Cheatham. Cheatham, nice strong run.
Pass is complete. Good for another Artesian.
12-yard pickup there for Luke Cheatham.
Well, that was a great. I remember earlier in the game I talked about the Yak Award, the yards after the catch. He catches it, picked up about 7-8 yards on his own after he caught the ball.
Replay here, you see Luke Cheatham, nice strong run. And Atkins finds a man and gets tackled just shy of the goal line. And a great pass there from Atkins, and I think that is Garrett Skaggs. We'll take a look at it here. We've got a replay. Nice job by our camera crew here. Everyone in production-wise, nice catch.
Great passing catch right there.
I think that was Garrett Skaggs who made that that reception. And we've got movement somewhere, and it's going against the Artesians.
Boy, it's hurt them down here in the red zone.
Penalty is against the Artesians. Illegal procedure.
You're absolutely right, Coach. This kind of hurt the Artesians when after that second interception, they had the ball at the 5-yard line, and I think they had that holding penalty that moved them back 10 yards, so they went from first and goal from the 5, first and goal to the 15. So now it's kind of the same situation. Not quite as bad as that one, but still now you're around the 6. Hands it off to Fry, and he doesn't get much.
Austin Fry carries the ball.
I wouldn't be afraid to come back to that little jet. I know you're calling it a pop pass, but to me, that's just a jet. You know, they're kind of tossing it out there. But come back to that jet and play. And then definitely with Atkins has good connection with his receivers, but I think they can get to the outside on this team the way this far back. You just got to hook that edge player.
And Austin Fry came off the field favoring his leg there, as handed off to Riddick Bolton this time and doesn't get much. And Coach Duggar, I can see him on the sideline. He's not happy with this running game that the Artesians have had these last few plays. He seems really animated, so I don't know if it's something he thinks the Artesians should be getting. I don't know if he's upset with the running back, the blocking, or what, but he's not happy with those last two run plays, how those ended.
I would come into any type of whip route, anything of drag route I can kind of go around.
And Atkins is going to try to escape, and he's just going to swallow this. So once again, Franklin's defense from the goal line gets a stop, and now the Artesians, they're going to have to kick another field goal or attempt to kick a field goal. Ethan Hanlon, and after taking that sack, that doesn't do Ethan any favors.
Looks like it'd be, about a 32-yarder, 31 maybe?
From the 15, 32-yard field goal. Ethan Hanlon hit from 32 in the first quarter, missed from 35, but then hit, I believe, a 27-yard. So he's 2 for 3. Kick is up. It's going left, but it makes it into the uprights. So Ethan Hanlon hits the 32-yard, and Coach Duggar is not happy with his special teams. He has been hot tonight, and I don't think he's pumped up. I think he's letting his players know he was not happy with how that went down. So the field goal was good, but Coach still not happy, Coach.
Well, 3 times down there, Coach, I know one, we've been down there that we've been turned away with either 2. I think we didn't get in once, and we got 2 field goals on the other. So instead of having 21 points out of that, we got 6. So Coach isn't happy. You always want more, but 16 now you're looking at, it's still a 2-possession game, but that means they've got to get 2 touchdowns and 2-point conversions. So as this game winds down, those are big field goals.
Absolutely. I mean, you think if you don't have Ethan Hanlon, you don't have those field goals. He's put up 9 points, 10 points if you count the extra point. So he's out of the 16. Ethan Hanlon's leg is accounted for 10 of them. So like you said, good weapon to have. But, yeah, still just a 2-possession game. You think as much as the Artesians have had the football in the red zone, but only a 16-0 lead. But Coach Duggar, I'm sure, will take the lead as the defense has done well, and Franklin offense really hasn't shown a lot of success. They've had spurts, but their Artesian defense has done a really nice job against this Franklin offense. And that hits at the 1 and into the end zone for another touchback.
Routine. I kind of go back to, and I think Coach calls a great game. I like what I'm seeing, but Coach likes to mix it up. I was always a believer. I was going to run something until you stopped it. That little jet that they toss out there, I've seen Mabry, and I would keep giving them that and not be afraid to run it. I like running the smash route with either an out with it and a deep route, the way they're playing. If they're beating me up inside, I'm not going to play in there until I get going my other things and get them loosened up.
1st and 10 for the Grizzly Cubs from their own 20-yard line.
Pinnock rolls to his right, throws to his left, and incomplete. That's high. You said it, Coach. I think, for Pinnock to roll out as a left-handed quarterback to his right, that's a tough throw to make.
That's very tough for him to make. You've got to get that shoulder. You're running that way, and it's. My son was a lefty, so you got to plant and you got to turn around. You got to get that right shoulder downfield, and it's not always easy to do if you haven't been drilled on it, and it takes a while to learn that.
Phillips, and nice. He is tackled immediately. I think that's going to go for a 1 or 2 yard loss. Artesians get Titus Phillips in the backfield.
I think they've really frustrated the Pinnock quarterback for Franklin. You know, he's I think he's taken some shots, but I think they've confused him, brought pressure when it's needed. So right now, I think there's two MVPs of this team, or this game right now. I think the Artesian defense and their kicker.
Defense done a really good job, especially we talked about it. Titus Phillips ran it 40 times against Whiteland, over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns, where they've kept him in check for the most part in this game. And Clay's going to have to run again, and he's going to lose the football. Was sacked. The football came loose. And we will see. No call. I think Franklin
got it.
Yeah, I think Franklin got it back, but it's still going to be Artesian football here momentarily, as that was 3rd down. So Artesians forcing another punt as Clay Pinnock got hit.
I'm going to put 11 men. I wouldn't even put a guy back because he's not punting it. The quarterback's punting it. I would, unless that's him going off the field. But he's been their punter all night. I would bring the heat and bring 11 guys.
Doesn't look. It looks like 35's the punter
looks
now.
Like they've taken him out.
Yeah.
So and he looked like he was limping.
That's a high snap, and it could be trouble. Now he's just going to try to run with it. And now he's going to throw it, and it's incomplete.
Penalty marker on the field.
There's a penalty. And that was a wild play, and we'll see what this penalty's about.
I got a feeling that's on them. And
yeah, it looks like it's an ineligible receiver downfield. A broken play like that, there's probably all kinds of ineligible receivers downfield. So, Coach, here we go again. Artesian offense will have great starting field position. It seems like they have been in the red zone all night. I can't remember the last time they had a long, sustained drive. They've pretty much had the football inside the 20 most of the night, but can they actually capitalize and get more than 3 points this time?
Well, like I said, I would get to the outside. I wouldn't be afraid to throw it out there to cheat them. You saw what these guys looks like they're playing off. I don't know, they bumped up there a little bit. But I wouldn't be I would run that. Yeah, they've jumped up in there. They're playing games with them.
Hands it off to Fry. Fry tries to get to the outside, but gets bottled up. And running game just really not clicking for the Ortiz. They just haven't really found a consistent run game tonight.
Well, Coach is running it up in there, and I said, I love what Coach calls, but, at some point I said, okay, that's not working. That outside play's worked for them, and they haven't gone back to it. I don't think enough.
So that was about a one yard gain there for Fry. Atkins throws it. Here's your screen, Coach. Chase Mabry gets it inside the 10, inside the 5. There's a penalty marker, though, right there at about the 6-7 yard line. And
that's probably going to be on us.
Yeah, it might be a hold on one of those receivers trying to block on the outside. We will see. Chase Mabry, I think, had enough for the first down, but this penalty, we'll have to see what it's all about. Franklin's pointing toward Martinsville's direction.
Might have been an illegal guy downfield. One of those linemen maybe were past the line of scrimmage. I'm not sure what he's calling. I didn't see that.
It's going to be a holding call on the Artesians. I think they're going to catch Philip Herbert there on the outside. I think he maybe grabbed one of those Franklin defenders as Chase Mabry was trying to get toward the end zone there.
Now, if I was down there and I was on the headset with Coach Duggar, I'd say best time to throw a screen is right after you've thrown the first screen. Throw another one. They're not expecting it, and it would be a big play.
We'll see what Coach Duggar does here. Atkins rolls out. Now he's got all kinds of pressure, and he's going to go down. And, Coach, this is just – it's Groundhog Day. Artesians, they defense does a great job. They have the football inside the 20 on the red zone, and now we're looking at 3rd and a mile.
Yeah, that would have been right there. They stunted those guys. That hindsight's 20/20, but
3rd down for the Artesians on the Franklin 30-yard line.
Well, let's see if Tyler can make up for can get some yardage back on that sack. Getting the play call. 5 seconds left on the play clock. Atkins goes back, gets a little help, and he loses the football. And Atkins jumps on it, so he saves a turnover, but Now you're fourth and even longer, and you're out of Ethan Hanlon's range now. So you're going to have to. Looks like you're going to have to punt this away.
You punt it, get them down there deep.
Yeah.
Franklin hasn't been able. I think I've seen one drive that they've been able to move the ball down, and that was on a broken play. So hopefully they can get them pinned deep and get this game going into the fourth quarter.
And I know this 16-0 score has not looked pretty for the Artesians. I'm sure the coaches would not argue that, but at the end of the day, the goal is to have more points than the other team, which the Artesians have right now. So Pemberton,
I think they'll like that.
I think they will too. And that's going to take a nice bounce. You got to get it before it gets in the end zone.
Good.
And did you get it?
Yeah,
and I think they did at the 1 yard line. So Weston Pemberton with a couple of really nice punts.
Weston Pemberton's punt drops on the Franklin 1 yard line.
1:05 left to go in the third quarter. So a great punt by Weston Pemberton. So Artesian defense in a prime position, and they've, like you said, Coach, defense and Ethan Hamlin have been the star of tonight. And Franklin hasn't really offensively shown a lot of pop, and now they're going to have to find some because they are at the 1 yard line, and looks like they're just going to try to sneak some yards or something. It looks like and not much. So tried to get some breathing room and didn't get a whole lot of breathing room.
Well, this is one of those, something we haven't had tonight. The defense has played great, but our home games we've done is we've had defensive scores. So what a great time for the defense to get a touchdown and set the tone. I know Coach Duggar's not going to be happy with his offense, but you got to be happy with that defense.
Yep, absolutely.
A set of keys. Please take them to the concession
Coach Trump's called a really nice game, and defensive players have done a good job. 2nd and 9. 30 seconds left, and they hand it off to Phillips. Phillips gets hit. I thought he was going to lose that football because he got hit pretty hard, and I think that ball came away from his body just a little bit, but not much room there, and that may do it here for the quarter. 12 seconds left, clock's running.
They'll be the ones carrying the red buckets. So
you mentioned Coach Trump. Alan Trump is a teacher in over there at Wooden for me, and it's amazing these coaches. People talk, well, does a coach really teach? Alan Trump is probably, if not the best teacher, and I've got a lot of good ones over at John R. Wooden, but he is a tremendous teacher. When he teaches math for us and the growth that he shows with our kids as far as when they test the NWEA test that we took this past week, by the time they take the iLearn exam in April, his students do unbelievable. So it just carries over. He does an excellent job in the classroom, and you can tell that the defense and everything is prepared. So Coach Duggar has a great coaching staff, but he's one of those guys that are outstanding both in the classroom and on the football field.
Coach Trump doing a good job in the classroom and the field, like you said, Coach. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with the fourth and final quarter after this.
Don't do that.
High school sports fans, welcome back to Game Time, to pure spirit, to pure sport. Welcome back to high school sports.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back.
This is Game Time. This is Indiana high school sports. This is your IHSAA.
And a quick punt here, and it does go in Franklin's favor. Coach, you're gonna have to explain something to me. That was 3rd and 7.
Yes.
And they punted it.
Great call. That's a quick kick. You're not, they're lining up. You think they're going to, the number 1 was the kicker, so I don't know if that should have been an indicator because he was lined up at quarterback. But what you do, you're down deep, you're struggling. It's third and forever. So what you do is you do the quick kick and you get it out of there because people don't realize you can't kick it on. You can attempt the field goal on second down. If you bobble the snap or anything, then you got a chance to do it again. But what that did is got it out of there. They weren't expecting it, and so they got a great punt out of it.
Nice strike there from Atkins. Thanks to Chase Mabry there on that far side. And, I was a little surprised, but you think back at it, Coach, and you explained it perfectly. That makes perfect sense because the last time Franklin punted deep in their own territory was a bobbled snap, and Artesian's got a good field position. So you do it in third down, punt it. Maybe Martinsville's not expecting it, but if something does happen to a bobble, you've got a fourth down, try it again if you need to.
You don't do it often, but in that case, you're backed up, and let's give our guys a chance.
Austin Fry, it's probably his best run of the night. Gets a first down, gets it across to the 35-yard line.
And that's what Coach has been trying to hit. He's been trying to hit that inside zone play in there. And so he's bound and determined. So he got some positive yardage on it, and it's going to move the chains.
1st and 10 for the Artesians on the Franklin 34-yard line.
Chase Mabry has it, and nice play for him. Gets about 9-yard pickup.
Pass complete to Chase Mabry.
Artesians.
I think the teeth of this Franklin defense is inside there. I know Coach has been plugging away at it, but I really like our matchups on the outside, whether it's running the jet play, whether it's running the bubble, whether it's running some passing games with them.
And a penalty there for the Artesians. That's really killed them, coaches. They get momentum, then they get a holding or a false start, something like that.
I think that's going to be what Coach is the most frustrated with, down there. And that's what's happened in the red zone to them. Here they are, not quite in the red zone, but, boy, they were getting awful close. And then all of a sudden you come up with that penalty. So I know that's what Coach is frustrated about discipline. You work on that in practice.
It's Riddick Bolton up the middle, and Riddick Bolton, he's going to score. Riddick Bolton, 31-yard touchdown run, and Riddick Bolton finally gets the Artesians into the end zone.
Yeah, good strong run right up the gut. That's said Coach has been wanting to hit it.
And here's a look at it. Hands it off to Riddick Bolton, just kind of up the gut. Escapes the one defender, try to get him by the ankles, and into the end zone for a 31-yard run. Ethan Hamlin for the extra point, and that it's got to feel good for Coach Duggar and these Martinsville fans. Kind of exhale a little bit because, you're still up 16-0. Defense playing great, but a whole fourth quarter left. A lot can still happen, but now you can exhale just a bit with a 23-0 lead.
Well, you got to have your defense is playing this well. You got confidence. So this is why I know Coach is thinking, okay, game's not over, but my defense is playing well, and I know he wants to get another. He wants to probably get his offense out there one more time before he starts making some subs, and because definitely game's not over, and he wants them to execute, get a nice drive and be mistake-free.
And just a note here, Riddick Bolton with that touchdown run. The play before that, Austin Fry came off of the field, kind of hanging his arm down a little bit. So he's getting worked on by the training staff. And
I hate to see that because Artesians have a good football team, and we're going to definitely need Austin healthy as we get through the rest of this season and we get ready for the sectional. So what do you think? This is going into the end zone?
If I was a betting man, I would probably put safe money on it. But my luck, you'd probably try some sort of weird pooch kick, and I'd lose that bet. We'll see. Ethan Hanlon from the 40, and it's going into the end zone once again. And you don't, he's been quiet. We've talked about him, but number 7, Max Clark, you talked about in the baseball. He said the one big catch that went for 35 yards there in the first half. He's the return man, and he's got some speed.
Yes.
If you've got Major League scouts looking at you, you've got some speed. So to kind of eliminate him and not have him involved in this game because of Ethan Hanlon, that's a great, great tool to have.
Well, a lot of people don't realize, even in baseball, unless you're a pitcher throwing 96, 97 miles an hour, the first thing they look for in baseball is your speed. How fast can you get from home plate to second base? So looks like they've moved, unless this is a different I'm trying to look here. They got is that the number 11 at quarterback? I think it is still, isn't it? Okay.
Yep, yeah. Still Clay, and he hands it off to Phillips, and he's still running and gets it across the 25.
So yeah, the Clark kid, even he looks like an athlete. You can just, he's got those legs, and you just tell he's fast. But his biggest thing is, I believe he does throw about 95, 96 miles an hour.
He does. I've got a coworker whose son plays a lot of travel baseball, and he says that he is a very, very good pitcher, but just his hitting and his in the outfield, he's one of those rare 5-tool players, was what they say. So,
and I can tell you, being from Franklin, I have family on this team. Everyone talks about what a great kid he is, what a great person he is. So I think that's when you got a guy that could get maybe a $4 or $5 million signing bonus if he decides to do it. But is a great human being. That's great for the young kids to look up to.
Yep. Over the summer, the Indy Star wrote a article about him, and it kind of highlighted how humble he was and how determined he was. Talked about how he got cut as a freshman from the United States national team and said he was too small, and he showed a picture of what he looked like then and then what he looks like now, and he has definitely hit the weight room for sure. So. But the Artesians limited him to only one catch. That was about a big 35-yard catch, but that's all he's got. So got a great football player, great baseball player. But Artesians not intimidated and have done a good job of not letting him break anything out right now. 2nd and 4 coming up here. 9:54 left in the game. Pinnock throws it, and behind his receiver just a bit.
Little pressure coming from the Artesians. Yep. Both outside backers were coming. And he got rid of it, but he was definitely hearing the footsteps.
I tried to get it to Max Clark, but threw it behind him and couldn't make the play. So 3rd down here for the Grizzly Cubs. And
I think the Artesians, what Coach Trump's game plan was, they know Zach Clark's a tremendous athlete, but they've really wanted to come after this young quarterback and make him make some poor decisions, which he has.
He has. They've made him feel very uncomfortable, and they hand it off there on the left side, and it's enough for the first down and some more. Still going across the 40 to the 30, finally pushed out of bounds, and that's Shepard, I believe, with a long run, biggest play offensively of the night for the Franklin Grizzly Cubs, and gets it out to near the 20-yard line. So a huge play there.
Just the same thing that the Artesians have kind of hurt them with on a couple plays, but it went a little bit bigger than what ours has, but that's just the jet play.
Yep. That was a 54-yard play there, and Franklin in business here in the red zone. They haven't been in it much, but Phillips. Or was that Shepard? It was Shepard.
Looks like Shepard.
Yep. So back-to-back nice plays there by Shepard.
The Artesians make a stop at the 13-yard line. 2nd down for the Grizzly Cubs.
Pinnock throws it over the middle and caught and score. Max Clark, we talked about him, and he scores there, and you saw kind of how quick he was on that route he ran. He just ran past 2 Martinsville defenders into the end zone, and Pinnock found him for the strike. And for the first time tonight, the Artesian defense gives up points to Franklin.
Yeah, that was a nice little drive that they put together. But the ending there, we just talked about how fast he is, and they did a good job of taking that away. Well, guess what? You don't do it once, and there it is. That's how good he is.
Extra point's good. 23-7 is your score. 9:02 left to go. And, Coach, is it too early to Artesians to be looking at an onside kick here? Or Franklin's still probably going to be kicking it deep?
I think it's too early. But you never know with Coach Cole. But I think it's too early. I think he'll kick it deep and try to get. He's looking at basically you're still thinking 2-possession game here, even though you got to get an extra point, a 2-point conversion on that.
You have to feel a little bit better, too, after the Artesians had that nice drive finally and ended with a touchdown. They had been struggling in the second and third quarter, and it wasn't until that long drive they finally got back into the end zone. So good to see. But for Artesians, the important thing is the last thing you want to do is, A, turn the ball over or go 3 and out and give the ball right back to Franklin. So even if you don't score or get points, if you can get a couple first downs and extend this drive, that would be a win for the Artesians.
You want to do what you do, but you want to take some time off the clock. And that's now, Coach is looking at it and says, boy, there's still 9 minutes left. So this will be the longest 9 minutes of Coach Duggar's life here for this game. It's going to be like that every game.
Yep.
But when you got the lead and you got a team that, they just scored on us and the game's not out of reach, that's a long 9 minutes. Well,
and they onside kick it, and it's nicely covered by the Artesians.
Boy, I'm really surprised by that.
It's covered up nicely there.
Especially after that last drive the Artesians had, they seem to be picking their spots. And
that was Jaden Thacker who covered that football up. So nice play by him to not turn it over.
I told you, don't rule anything out on Coach Cole. He's got that Franklin mentality, Franklin College.
There's that jet pass there, Coach, to Mabry, and looked like he wasn't going to get much, but spun around across midfield and got a nice little first down gain.
Does a good job when he gets hit, spinning. He's just a tough guy to put a hit on, a hat on, and make a good solid tackle. So, hey, you're sitting in good, pick up 4 yards.
Atkins going to look at the sideline. Not unusual. It's what Martinsville does, but taking some time off that clock, letting it tick away. Gives to Bolton, and Riddick Bolton took a shot there. A short gain there, about a yard.
Riddick Bolton carries the ball.
So 3rd and 5. Artesians looking to snap this. Hurry, they do. And Franklin still had a player coming off, so that's going to be a penalty against Franklin and should give the Artesians the first down.
Good, quick offense. You see that a lot in the NFL. You don't see too many in the high schools able to pull that off, so I'm sure it's something they had worked on in practice.
Yeah, Franklin was kind of late substituting there, and Atkins saw it. I saw Artesians, the offensive line, got onto the ball quick and snapped it in plenty of time before Franklin could get their player off the field.
Yeah.
Eagle substitution, 5-yard penalty, 3rd and 5. So theoretically, this should be a first down if I'm not. 3rd and 1, just shy of it, looks like. So
now I know a lot of people like to take a shot here, but you know what? I want to get that first down, and so I'm going to give it to Austin, let him work up in there.
It's going to be Bolton, and I think he's going to get just enough.
Yeah. Not a very good spot. I thought he was a little farther ahead of that, but.
They say he lost yards, Coach. It looks like he lost about a half a yard. So now it's 4th and 1. So this is a big play here. All of a sudden now Martinsville seemed to be in control.
Big play here.
It is big play now. 4th and 1. I think Atkins trying to get Franklin to jump off sides. They're not doing it. 5 seconds on the play clock. Snap it or call a timeout. And he's just going to run out of time. So, and I'm guessing, Coach, that was meant to happen. I don't think Coach Duggar wanted Atkins
to draw him off sides. I wouldn't be against a fake punt here, I haven't seen Coach do that yet, but we had a pretty good fake punt. But at this point in the game, I might kick this thing, try to pin them deep again. You got 7 minutes left. You're still a 2-score game. I'm going to try to pin them deep.
And it looks like Coach Duggar did get a timeout in before that penalty, so 4th and 1. And it looks like the rest of this game we're going to see Riddick Bolton. Looks like I see Austin Fry there. No shoulder pads, jersey, ice on the right shoulder. So I'm guessing we'll probably see Riddick Bolton the rest of the game. And hopefully Austin Fry is just something that keeps him out the rest of this game and can come back next Friday. But we obviously don't know.
Yeah, we hope he can. I mean, especially being one of our main offensive cogs in his offense.
So big play here. 4th and 1. Hands it off to Bolton, and I think he got hit in the backfield. Nope, did not get it. So all of a sudden now, that momentum switching over to Franklin. Yeah, like you said, Coach, yeah, they need 2 scores, two-point conversions, but 7:05 to go, and Franklin defense gets the turnover on downs, and that's tough.
Well, Coach went for it, and he has confidence in his line. They've been moving that ball pretty regularly, and it just, Franklin made a great call. They stunted those gaps, and right there where the ball was.
And there's a shot of Austin Fry we talk about. You see he's got his right arm in a sling and a high snap there as Clay Pinnock makes some miss, takes some shots, but gets a nice 10, 11-yard pickup for a first down. So what looked like was going to be a disaster for Franklin turns out to be a first down.
We saw the Phillips kid, their running back, go off there. Looked like he had tweaked something. So the last couple of series, we've had Shepard back there. So not sure what happened there with their running back. So both starting running backs are out of the game.
Give it to Shepard again, and this time he is stonewalled and pushed back for not much of anything there. John Shepard coming into the game, 31 carries for 176 yards, 3 touchdowns, 8 catches for 71 yards, 2 touchdowns. So 5 touchdowns on the season so far for Shepard. So he's definitely an experienced player. He's in the backfield now to the left of Clay Pinnock, the quarterback. Clay, he's got time. He throws it up, and it's well over the head of his intended receiver, Max Clark, and a couple of Artesian defenders back there, but no one was catching that one.
Now, Franklin has been known to this is a situation where you got to be ready for the screen, but anything they can do to get the ball into the hands of Clark now would be something you'd have to look for. But this is a great time that Coach Cole will call a screen. Looks like the Artesians are setting back a little bit.
And they give it to Phillips, I think, and Phillips
is back.
All the way to the 30-yard line, so a first down for Franklin, and they move the chains and keep the drive going.
Well, they must have just been resting him.
Must have, and it must have worked because that was a big run there for Franklin and stops the clock for a little bit. Now it's back and running, under 6 minutes to go. High snap. Ends up in Phillips' hands, but he is brought down in the backfield. Nice heads-up play by the Artesian defender not to get rattled by that, but
they've had bad snaps on punts. They've had a couple here that have just killed them. So that good for us. Looks like Coach Trump's going to play it safe, but boy, I'd really like to see him keep the pressure on this young guy.
Bryce Norton was in there for the Artesians on that last hit. And
just missed.
Yep, just missed, just out of the reach of Max Clark. They're still they're trying to get it to him.
Yeah, if he would have caught that, he would have probably could have turned it up for first down. This is where the quarterback for Franklin, hasn't handled pressure really well, and we're kind of laying back on this. But Coach Trump's called a great game, so I'm going to trust him on this.
And we talked about it. We have seen, and not just in this game, but in a lot of games, the Bedford game and a lot of really bad snaps so far in this season. Franklin's had trouble. That time it's good. Little screen set up for Phillips, and Phillips, he's in the second level, still on his feet, and finally drugged down. It saved him from getting the first down. And that was it, number 11, Bryce Norton again. But that'll make it 4th and short, so.
This is where you're hollering out to them, watch the ball. They're going, I'm sure, going to go on a hard count. But again, I don't be surprised to see Coach Cole. What we learned from Coach Faught at Franklin College. Best time to screen is right after you've thrown the first screen. Throw it again. Throw them back to back.
Nope, we just hand it off to Phillips, and he's going to spin his way to the first down. Got hit at the line of scrimmage and kind of spun around and got an extra 3 or 4 yards. So another first down for Franklin. And they will. Good thing for the Artesians is Franklin. They haven't had that quick hitter where, they still, this drive is still taking up a lot of time. They're driving, but they're chewing up a lot of clock doing it. Pinnock throws it, and a diving Max Clark couldn't quite bring it in. Thrown behind him just a bit.
Yeah, the quarterback just missed him. It's so far behind him. I'm a little surprised. We're really giving them that out route. I'm surprised they don't throw the out route to Clark up top there.
Four minutes to go, fourth quarter here. Homecoming, Artesians up 23-7, but Franklin driving, trying to cut into this lead and make it a game at the end. High snap, but Carroll, screen set up to Shepard this time, and Shepard is tackled, forced out of bounds around the 13-yard line, so going to be short of the first down. Third, about 5 yards to go. Clock's going.
It didn't get out of bounds.
Yeah, it looks like he was stopped inside the field of play before he did eventually go out of bounds.
And up top where I'm talking there, you got the Clark, you got a great athlete. If he runs an out.
They're looking that way. Pinnock avoids the first pressure. He's still staying, he's going to dive forward, going to be short of the first down marker. I feel like, Coach, if Clay just would have tucked it and ran, he could have had the first down. I think he wanted to stay behind the line of scrimmage to pass it if he had an opening. But I think if he just tucked it and run, he would have had the first down.
And that's what I like. Coach Trump brought the pressure there. He just doesn't handle that very well.
So Coach Cole will use Franklin's first timeout of the half. They'll have 2 left with 3:12 to go in the game and facing a 4th down and 3.
And again, I'm beating a dead horse here, but 2 out of the last 3 plays, I believe, have been screens. Don't be surprised, Coach Cole. Then when you got a back like Phillips, you got a couple of options there, but this is a big play for our defense, and they've come up big all night.
Yeah, Ortiz getting a stop here. That really doesn't quite shut the door, obviously, but it really would be tough for Franklin to get out of that hole if their Ortiz get a stop here, turnover on downs.
Well, you never say never, but
yep,
you're right.
absolutely.
It would be an uphill battle.
Hands it off to Phillips, and he busts through. Yep, he busts through. Got the first down.
Titus Phillips, the ball carrier. He carries it for Franklin, first down.
From the 3-yard line. Oh, bad snap again, but Clay is able to bring it down. It gets the corner and
I think it's a touchdown.
He's stretched out there. Nope, didn't get it.
Came up short.
Kind of looked like Michael Penix from last year from IU, but just couldn't quite get the nose of the football to hit the pylon. So Saint actually stepped out around the 2-yard line, so around the 2, maybe even the 3-yard line actually. So second and goal from the 3, so I don't know if he got much of anything. And they sneak it, he gets hit, and I think he's short there again, so nice job. This Artesian defense, their goal line defense has been really strong, not just this game, but, all season long. They've had several stops here.
Really surprised at that call. I think maybe Coach Call thought he was a little closer than he was, so I'm not sure if he's getting good communication, but a lot of time ticking off, too.
And just jumps over the defense and gets the stop. What a play.
I believe that was Pemberton, wasn't it?
I think that was Weston Pemberton who just timed that right. Tro Palomalu is who that reminds you of, famous Pittsburgh Steeler. Let's take a look at it here.
Yeah, they'd probably like to have a couple of those calls back.
Weston Pemberton jumped over the whole line, and Clay Pinnock now looking, throws it in the back of the end zone over his head, and the Artesians get the stop.
Good job, Coach Trump and his defense.
So some Artesian fans on their feet applauding this Artesian defense.
Now Coach Duggar's down there telling his offense, we're going to hand the ball off, protect it, because Franklin's going to be yanking and pulling. Don't try to get any extra yards. Just get what you can and go down. I think maybe they have one timeout left.
I believe so, yep.
So be nice if we could get a first down out of it, but just keep that ball. You got to tell those run backs, keep that ball tight to your body. Cover the points.
Lowers the shoulder pads, goes nowhere, but keeps the clock running. Looks like he might have an injury for Franklin.
I think that's the old get the clock stopped. This is what drives coaches nuts.
Yeah. And you can't argue it because you really don't know, but looks like it's a cramped situation if it is.
We had always, and I can tell you, you always identified one guy was going to go down when we needed him to, and that was whenever. Usually it was going to be a big old lineman, and he was to go down because we could put a guy in there to get the clock stopped and get our personnel on the field.
Saw the replay there of Weston Pemberton leaping over the offensive line and just grabbing Clay Pinnock as soon as he got the snap. Show it again here because it's such a great play. See Weston just jump right over and bring down Clay Pinnock.
It's nice to see. I'm at the middle school, so I've seen these young men when they're young adolescents, become men, boys to men. And Weston was one of those neat kids in our building that was just, the kids looked up to him. He was one of our leaders, and you can just see it's carried over here to the high school as well.
Artesian will have it 2nd and 9 with 1:46 left to go. And they've got a 23-7 lead. Homecoming here, and Artesian's trying to end tonight with a victory.
Well, if they don't start that clock, I got a feeling Franklin might have taken a timeout there. Might have been their last one.
And now
they should be starting the clock.
Now they're starting it. So yep.
Okay.
.30 seconds on the play clock, and I'm sure Coach Duggar told Tyler to just let that run until about 2 or 1 second left, then you snap it. Snaps it with about 2 seconds left, hands it off, and Riddick just goes, he'll be tackled in the end zone, but forward progress will about no gain as we get a stop. And now Franklin, I think, has used their final timeout with 1:02 left to go in the game. So Artesians, we think, looking to move to 3-2 on the year, 2-1 in the conference, and Franklin will fall 1-4, 1-2 in the conference.
If I'm Coach Duggar here, I always like to gamble a little bit, but boy, I'd come back and run that jet. I don't think everybody, they're all collapsing on the inside and they're thinking, oh, we're going to run it in there. I'd run that jet, and I think Mabry will still be running later on tonight.
Franklin's kind of been selling out on the run up the middle, so.
Yeah, there's nobody outside.
Nope. Artesians next week, they're on the road at Whiteland playing the Warriors. Coach and I will not be there. Won't be doing the broadcast, but like always, you can listen to it on the radio, or better yet, travel up 37, fight the construction, and support the Artesians as they will play the Whiteland Warriors in another conference matchup next Friday night. Should be a good one. Not for sure what that Decatur Central Mooresville score is, but that was probably a good game here in the Mid-State Conference tonight.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who won that. I would have, two good teams going at.
Mm-hmm. Mabry in motion. They didn't give it to him unless they give it to him coming back, and there it is. He got hit about 10-yard line, so he didn't get the first down, but Coach, he did get more than just running up the middle.
Well, Coach must have heard me. Yeah, that gives you time. Eat that clock now a little bit.
So Franklin stops the clock, so they must have not used a timeout on that injury.
Yeah.
So that should be the final timeout. Artesians will probably look to just punt this away, but with 50.6 seconds left and Artesians up 2 scores, Coach Duggar has to feel pretty good about his chances here of coming out with a homecoming win.
Coach Duggar doesn't feel well till that says 0-0-0.
Download the Martinsville Athletic app. Just search Martinsville Athletics.
So once again, a nice bounce-back win for the Artesians. They did it against Greenwood after the loss to Bloomington South, and it looks like they're going to do it again after the loss to Decatur Central. So Artesians doing a nice job of bouncing back. Coach talked about that inconsistency, but at the same time, you have to admire and respect the bounce back that these Artesian football players have of, after a bad game or a bad half, they don't hang their head and keep fighting the next game. And so far, they've turned them into wins.
Well, Coach is going to be disappointed in his offensive, the mental mistakes, because they've done some good things. But he's got to leave here really pleased with his defense. They've really stepped up tonight. And bottom line is the offense scores points, the defense is going to win you games.
I don't know how many timeouts Franklin's had. Okay, Martinsville called the timeout. Okay. Thought Coach Cole got snuck a timeout in there somehow.
I think they just want to see how they're going to line up against that formation on the punt, and
because Franklin, they're going to be looking to block this all-out block. It's really the only chance they have is if they can get a block and a score here. He's just trying to protect Weston here, the punter, and Weston's just trying to get this off cleanly.
Hopefully he'll just kick it away from 21, let that ball roll, let the time click.
Gets it away. It's a nice punt. And that's just going to be down to around the 49-yard line. So nice job by Weston to punt that away, and Franklin offense will come out on the field with 42 seconds left and no timeouts. Down 2 scores. Artesians look like they're going to get a homecoming victory and send this pretty full crowd. Not so much full anymore, but had a nice crowd when this game started and all the way throughout. So send these fans home happy.
It's been a good night for football. Like I said, we started a little hot.
Yep.
But this is a good win for Coach and his crew.
So like I said, Artesians at Whiteland next week. We will not be broadcasting that game, but you can always listen to it on WCBK or go to Whiteland and support this Artesian team yourself. Whiteland Martinsville, always a fun game. Coach, you had a lot of really good contests with you and Whiteland when you guys played each other when you were coaching here.
Darren Fisher's the head coach there. They run the fly offense, and it is tough to defend. And they've become such a big school, probably over 2,000 students now. And to Clark.
Max Clark with the reception. And when he makes those catches, there's not anybody around him. I think it's just that speed. He just can get away from Artesian defenders, and by the time the ball gets to him, he's by himself. They're going to try to get it to him again, but this one will be picked off, and safety was kind of waiting for that. They knew where it was going and just kind of floated it up there, and he just went up and grabbed it. So I think that's the third interception on the night in this Artesian defense. They are a bunch of ball hawks.
Is that 4?
That may be 4. That may be 4
picks.
picks. That may be 4 picks. But I know coming into the game, I think they had several. Take a look at it here and just see who that was coming from the safety spot. Caden Long with the interception. And Caden Long, he had 3 interceptions coming into the game. That's interception number 4 for Caden. So just take a knee here, and the Artesians will get the win. They'll move to 3-2, 2-1 on the conference. Franklin falls to 1-4, 1-2 in the Mid-State Conference. And that will do it.
That should be it.
That should be it. So Artesians with the win. Great job by our crew today. I'd like to thank all of our camera operators, tech director, for putting on a great broadcast here for WREP 15 Sports. And thanks for watching live on YouTube TV and IHSAA TV. For the great coach, Fred Cuttriff, I'm Eric Burns. Artesians win on homecoming 23-7. Good night, everybody.